the Interstellar Mecha cook. Greetings, fellow multiversal adventurers. It's an honor to have you back in this saga that has us all hooked. Official channel statement: this story is 100% epic fiction, so please don't attempt real magic. The results aren't guaranteed and insurance won't cover it. The rights to this masterpiece belong entirely to its brilliant original author. We are just a barge sharing it with you. Do you want to keep being part of this amazing community? Join our ninja army of subscribers on YouTube and give this content a like. And for true fans, our Patreon has exclusive ninjutsu waiting for you. Chapter 451 Underground Palace Main Hall. After a flutter, the fork, with a few more feathers plucked, sat dejectedly atop Aoxu's head. How could the mutant parrot, plucked so many times, dare to speak so rudely? When Gu Qinghang asked how many alien beasts were currently in the underground palace, it replied honestly, about 7 or 8,000, most of them level 4, everyone gasped. It was a good thing they hadn't rushed in directly, but instead reported the situation to the military. Changqing was truly trying to screw them over without remorse. Coiled in the basin, Changqing felt like crying. He had no idea the alien beasts had grown so large. No wonder they'd make 10 trips a day. Sometimes, when he thought he'd sent one away, it kept coming back to climb the cliff. It turned out they were just similar-looking vines. It was truly remarkable that the alien vines were so slow-witted. No wonder they were captured by the Beast King and forced to act as an automatic elevator. This small passage and the large passage are connected, right? Gu Qinghang asked again. Are there many exotic beasts guarding this area? Are there any items left in the underground palace by those with superpowers from thousands of years ago? So you want the items left by those superpowers? Chazzy understood. Stop talking nonsense and answer the questions quickly, Lin Miaomiao urged. We're in a hurry. What if Mengjia's people got there first? Fork pecked at its feathers and said somewhat dejectedly, you won't even satisfy my curiosity. Aoxu raised her right arm again, reaching for the mutant parrot overhead and snatching it down. Fork cried, I say. Most of the alien beasts have been summoned by the king to the front, leaving only about 1,000 to guard the passages here. The large passages lead directly to the ordinary alien beast colonies, while the smaller ones lead directly to the main hall and the rear hall. The king lives in the main hall, and the alien beasts above level 6 live in the rear hall. As for whether the alien had left any items behind, Fork was actually not sure. There were none in the ordinary alien beast colonies. If there were, they would probably be in the main hall and the rear hall. It was only a level 4 alien beast, not qualified to enter the main hall. Even when it was sent here to guard this time, it had to go around the corridor beside the main hall. Mengjia is in trouble. She was besieged by thousands of alien beasts. Liu Yifei felt relieved. Those ungrateful people must have gone in first and got their comeuppance. Let's go. Yi Hongwen felt that the matter was almost clear and didn't want to waste any more time. Everyone continued to move forward. Due to Aoxu's unique appearance now, holding a mutant parrot in one hand and a vine basin in the other, Lin Miaomiao was protected in the middle. After going down the stairs, it was no longer a narrow passage, but an open space paved with black marble. The surrounding walls were also made of the same color stone. 4 round black stone pillars stood in the open space, and the pillars were carved with exquisite and lifelike dragons and phoenixes. The person who built this underground palace couldn't have wanted to be the emperor, Lin Miaomiao muttered softly. Even the dragons and phoenixes were made, which seemed to be a big ambition. It was a pity that he was so unlucky because of internal strife. Speaking of which, interstellar history also records the struggle for power and profit among people with special abilities. Those people with special abilities had powerful abilities and protected ordinary people from the end of the world. They thought they were superior to others and only needed to enjoy the support of ordinary people from now on. As life settled, the superpowered, overwhelmed by their comfort, began vying for power and slaughtering each other, rendering their beautiful home uninhabitable. Fortunately, while ordinary humans lacked powerful superpowers, many possessed ingenuity. Scientists diligently developed spaceships capable of freely traversing the universe, finding a new home to live in. Even in their new home, the superpowered continued to fight among themselves. High-level superpowered beings gradually perished, leaving only a few novice superpowered beings. At this time, scientists developed hand-controlled mechas, allowing ordinary people to compete with these novice superpowered beings. The advent of mechas meant that the power of those with superpowers was no longer a cause for fear. Many of the overbearing superpowered beings faced a fierce counterattack. Gradually, the number of superpowered beings dwindled, and the surviving ones moved away from the ordinary human planets, seeking alternative habitats. Now, superpowered beings are nothing more than a legend. Superpowers give them power, but they also breed ambition, Lin Miaomiao muttered to herself. Cook, let's go. The main hall is just ahead, Bai Jin, who was following her, urged. While Lin Miaomiao was lost in thought, many of her teammates had already walked a long way off, leaving only those behind her waiting for her to leave first. Oh, I see, Lin Miaomiao hurriedly directed Aoxa forward. Ahead stood a series of stone gates carved with twin dragons competing for a pearl. To either side were two marble corridors, leading to the front hall, where ordinary alien beasts lived, and the back hall, where alien beasts of level 6 and above lived. According to Chezi, the Beast King was probably leading his minions to attack Meng Jia's men. Liu Wan hadn't sent a distress signal, which meant they weren't in serious danger, so everyone set their sights on the main hall. However, the stone door to the main hall was heavy and still tightly shut, and Chezi didn't know how to get in. Yi Hongwen wasn't sure whether to find a mechanism to open the door or force a sudden attack. A sudden attack would likely alert the alien beasts sent by the Beast King to defend the main hall. Finally, Black Lotus blasted open the stone door with a single shot. A thunderous roar echoed through the underground palace, and the alien beasts hidden in the passageways on both sides swarmed in, roaring and engaging the mechas. Aoxa's bizarre appearance made her an obvious target. Many of the alien beasts, seeing the strange vines and the mutant parrot, turned their eyes red and tried to rush over to slay the traitor. But Fork remained completely silent, lying motionless in Aoxa's hand, feigning death. Lin Miaomiao was extremely satisfied. The parrot had finally learned to shut up, but being used as a target with its combat power drastically reduced was also a headache. Go into the main hall, Fork shouted. They dare not pursue without the king's order. Since the Beast King was away, entering the main hall was the safest option. Lin Miaomiao was escorted into the main hall by her teammates. If their mission hadn't been to eliminate the alien beasts, everyone would have probably headed there. The gate had been blown down, leaving the entrance in a shambles and little to be seen. Entering the main hall revealed a truly magnificent interior. The carved dragons and painted pillars weren't enough, even the floor was paved with gold. Lin Miaomiao drooled at the gold on the ground, but didn't dig. In this era, gold was incredibly cheap, with mines found on almost every planet. Therefore, gold jewelry was a common item, and no one would be so desperate to steal it. The main hall was divided into several sections. The front section was probably for meetings, with many single-person stone tables and stone benches placed side by side, and a larger table and bench placed in the opposite direction at the front. In the middle was the living room, with a large round table and several round stools, as well as stone wash basins and sinks. Finally, the bedroom contained a single, oversized stone bed, surrounded by a pile of gleaming crystals and durable bottles and jars. The three parts were separated by green straw curtains. Lin Miaomiao guessed that these were the hands of the Beast King. The previous psychics should have used cloth curtains to separate them, but due to the passage of time, those cloth curtains were broken. Chapter 452, Searching for the Treasure Room. Lin Miaomiao had little interest in the coarse porcelain bottles and jars. She only suspected the colorful crystals might be useful, as they resembled the black crystals in the stone figure's head, only differing in size and color. After a moment's thought, Lin Miaomiao quickly manipulated Aoxa to store the crystals in the mecha's armory while no one was around. Aoxa immediately barked, "Master Miaomiao, are you doing something sneaky?" "Shut up." Lin Miaomiao was immediately enraged. How could she say such a thing? If she hadn't been concerned about the assessment team outside, she wouldn't have done such a thing. "Alice, Master, you're doing such a thing and you don't let the mecha know," Aoxa said, feeling truly lonely. Listening to the lively fighting outside, she firmly grasped Aoxa's hands, held them horizontally to the external speaker, and whispered, "Don't tell anyone what I did in there. If anyone asks, just say I was just taking a walk. Do you understand?" "I understand," the strange vine and the strange beast whispered. Lin Miaomiao was satisfied. "Okay, just remember that. If this gets out and the assessment team finds out, I'll pluck the parrot's feathers and burn the strange vine to ash." The two, threatened, shuddered and said in unison, "I promise not to." With their worries resolved, Lin Miaomiao checked the main channel to see what was happening outside. primarily to ask if they should put down the two parrots and go help. But everyone unanimously refused. "There's nothing in here. It's boring," Lin Miaomiao said, glancing around. It was vast and empty. Fortunately, the walls were inlaid with glowing stones, illuminating the hall in every detail, making it less intimidating. "Miaomiao, just keep an eye on those two. Most of these beasts are level 4, so they can't do anything to us," Gu Qingheng quipped with a smile. "Look around inside. A supernatural being could build such a massive underground palace. There might even be a basement treasure room or something." Gu Qingheng's remark was just a casual one. If there was a treasure room, it would surely be well hidden, possibly containing traps. He couldn't really trust her to go there alone. Little did he know, the bored cook would actually go looking for a secret room. Lin Miaomiao didn't take it seriously at first, simply bored from sitting there. Soon, she was banging around, hoping to find a treasure room. The main hall was so sparse. "I heard some people like to put traps in the eyes of the reliefs. With so many dragons and phoenixes in this hall, it's probably just a cover-up," Lin Miaomiao muttered to herself, and began experimenting with each one. Pressing left and right, he was having a blast, but unfortunately, he didn't find anything. Instead, Aoxu's strength was so great that she turned several of the reliefs into one-eyed dragons and phoenixes. "Master, you've done enough," Aoxu complained in disdain. "These are exquisite reliefs, thousands of years old, worthy of being considered cultural relics, and yet you destroyed them all. Aoxu, you're asking for trouble. Have I been too nice to you lately? You're the one who attacked me for no reason. And you clearly broke these, how can you blame me?" Lin Miaomiao began to act like a spoiled child. Feeling wronged by Mobai, Aoxu almost wanted to destroy her memory center. Having such a master was truly embarrassing for artificial intelligence. Lin Miaomiao pouted, wondering who had led Aoxu astray. Forget it, they should continue searching the basement. A superpower leader thousands of years ago couldn't have been so poor. Shen Yu and the assessment team were engaged in a fierce battle outside. In the main hall, Lin Miaomiao was practically knocking over every floor tile, on the verge of going crazy and knocking off the dragon scales and phoenix's feathers. Aoxu was anxious. If this continued, her fists would be wasted. While it was honorable to be damaged in battle, ruining the paint while searching for the treasure room wasn't a good idea. The master's eldest brother said they didn't have much white paint left. An anxious Aoxu volunteered to help search for suspicious areas. As an AI, it could observe more carefully. Although Lin Miaomiao doubted its luck could be better than hers, she agreed. She also released some of Changqing and Chezi's heads so they could help search. Speaking of Changqing's head, Lin Miaomiao became curious. "Is the end of your vine your head?" Changqing hesitated for a moment before denying. "My end is for fighting." "How can I fight with my head?" "It's hard to say. I've heard of people practicing Iron Head Kung Fu before." Lin Miaomiao glanced curiously. "Where exactly is your head?" "It's a secret," Changqing said, not daring to reveal it to the person before him. It was a matter of life and death. The person before him was already evil, and knowing his fatal weakness would be disastrous. What a shady secret. "You're making it all so mysterious." Lin Miaomiao, her curiosity unsatisfied, growled and threatened, "Hurry and find the secret to the treasure room, or none of you three will ever get through this. Where there's oppression, there's compromise." Under immense pressure, the three began searching for the secret. After searching for a long time, Changqing speculated, "Are these glowing stones strange? They've lasted for thousands of years. Could it be?" Lin Miaomiao thought it made sense, so she dug them out one by one. She discovered they were just ordinary fluorescent stones, designed to glow continuously with more sunlight. Of course, there was no sunlight in the underground palace, so the glow must have been fueled by the Beast King. With the fluorescent stones dug out, the main hall instantly darkened. The vast space, coupled with the lifelike carvings of dragons and phoenixes, especially the large dragon head, sent a chill down Lin Miaomiao's spines. "You idiot, look at what you've done." Lin Miaomiao began to debate whether to pluck its leaves or cut its vines. Sensing danger, the vine trembled, its tendrils entwining themselves around the small patch of soil, attempting to minimize the damage. Chezi, figuring the vines weren't easy to deal with, feigned ignorance to break the already impending storm. "Well, I think the stone bed is suspicious. It could be smoothed out, or carved with a dragon or something, but it doesn't." Lin Miaomiao temporarily lost interest in pulling out the vine leaves and turned to examine the stone bed. She had already noticed the unevenness of the three sides not touching the wall, but there was a strange beauty to that, perhaps intentionally carved. Though hopeless, she controlled Aoxa to feel the bed up and down, but still found nothing. Could there really be no treasure room here? Oh, it seems I can't find it, Lin Miaomiao sighed, circling the hall, kicking everything she saw. Finally, Aoxa and the other two couldn't stand it any longer. Master, please stop destroying cultural relics, Aoxa accused righteously. Look, you've kicked several jars into pieces. Well, Lin Miaomiao had to admit that she had gone a bit too far. Fortunately, no one else was around, otherwise they would have wanted to strangle her to death. Chapter 453, A Mistake. I'm not looking anymore. Lin Miaomiao finally stopped her sinful steps, no longer destroying the artifacts. She turned and leisurely walked towards the two small side rooms beside the main hall. They were still brightly lit, looking much better than the energy lamp above her head. One of the two rooms was a kitchen, filled with pots and pans, all made of stone and carved with dragons and phoenixes. They looked quite delicate, not at all bulky, and there was not a speck of dust on them, as if they were regularly cleaned. These are quite beautiful. They would be nice to take home as a collection. Lin Miaomiao casually touched them, and put them all into the mecha's armory. Aoxa couldn't help but protest, Master, why are you collecting all this junk? My armory's almost full. It's not full yet, Lin Miaomiao replied nonchalantly. It's empty anyway, so I might as well put something in it. Aoxa, aside from these stone kitchen utensils, there was nothing else here. What surprised her most was that after searching the entire kitchen, she couldn't even find a faucet. Could it be that they didn't use water for cooking? Confused, Lin Miaomiao left the kitchen and headed for the next room. This side room was the bathroom, with a stone bathtub and a clogged toilet. The old stone water pipes had long been clogged, and even pulling out a proper valve was useless. Instead, Lin Miaomiao crushed a rusty faucet. This is the only iron item in the hall, and it broke just by being touched. Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but say, it must be a counterfeit product. Are you stupid, bad guy? Fork's voice was hoarse and full of contempt. It's a 1,000-year-old item, so it's good that it has maintained its shape. But you had the nerve to pinch it, Lin Miaomiao said sinisterly. Do you still want your feathers? Fork burst into tears. He had just spoken a few truths, and now he was threatened. He didn't know if his act of surrendering to the enemy was right or wrong. There was nothing in the bathroom, which made Lin Miaomiao, who wanted to hunt for treasure, very depressed. He came here with high hopes, but was he going to leave disappointed? This bathtub is nice, it even has a drain hole. Bad guy, please help me change the basin. Changqing's vines twirled with joy. Bad guy didn't have a big basin, so now that he had one, he couldn't refuse his request. The strange vine was right. The bathtub was useless there, and since it didn't cost any money, a vine basin would be a good choice for Changqing. She readily agreed. Okay, I'll change it for you. Remember to be obedient next time. Deal, Changqing said without hesitation. After all, he was supposed to be obedient. The fork shook its head. It was shameful to lose the dignity of an alien plant for a temporary basin. It didn't even want to associate with it. No one knew what the mutant parrot was thinking. At that time, Lin Miaomiao had already put down the two parrots in her hands and was carefully examining the bathtub. She found that it was actually connected to the ground. It's a bit troublesome. Do I have to dig it out with a sword? Lin Miaomiao muttered, but she didn't give up. She had to do what she promised. He controlled Aoxa and took out a giant sword from his back. The parrot and the alien plant didn't understand what he meant, thinking he was going to attack them, and screamed in fear. What are you trying to do? Anyone who kills a parrot is not a good person. I just want to change my nest. If you don't agree, then forget it. But why kill the vine to silence me? The noise was so loud that it alarmed the people who were clearing out the alien beasts outside. They all asked what was going on the main channel. Even Lin Yin asked on the temporary channel. Yi Hongwen simply rushed in. After all, the situation outside was almost over, so his absence didn't matter. Lin Miaomiao was furious. After replying on the main channel that it was fine, she angrily scolded the two. Why are you yelling? The bathtub is connected to the ground. I can't carve it out. With a few grumbles, Aoxa stuck her butt out and began to carve the bathtub. Yi Hongwen came in and saw the scene and was really amused. Looks like you're not bored in there either. There was not much to do outside, and he simply didn't want to go out. After asking Aoksu why she was cutting the bathtub, he asked Black Lotus to stop and ordered the work. Black Lotus was a level 6 mecha, stronger than a level 4 mecha. With a single blow of her sword, the bathtub was cut off. Amidst Chan King's cheers, Lin Miaomiao simply pulled the vine out of its pot, poured this oil from the pot into the bathtub, dug a large hole, and planted it in. There's a little soil. I'll dig some more to fill it up when we get out, Lin Miaomiao said. Chang Qing was frustrated. Could you please not be so rough? I've even broken a few of my roots, Lin Miaomiao said insincerely. Sorry, I've never planted vines before. I'll be more careful next time. The bathtub was a bit too large for Aoksu to carry with one hand, so she had to stand on its shoulders with a fork, preparing to hold the tub with both hands. To her surprise, lifting the strange vine revealed a large hole in a staircase leading down. Treasure room, Lin Miaomiao cried out. Fortunately, she had been on the main channel, so only Shen Yu's people heard her. She wasn't worried about the assessment team rushing in immediately. We really found it, Gu Qinghang asked in disbelief. He raised his leg and was about to run into the main hall, but stopped abruptly. No, we can't go in now. Hongwen, why don't you go down and take a look first? Yi Hongwen frowned at the tunnel and said helplessly, the entrance is too small. The mecha can't get in. If we go down rashly, we don't know if there's any danger below. How about this, Miaomiao, wait upstairs, I'll go down alone, but you don't have any weapons. What if you run into danger? We don't know if the space inside is big enough or if we can use the mecha. Lin Miaomiao refused. I want to go down with you. No, Yi Hongwen refused without hesitation. I can protect myself. It's more dangerous to take you down, then don't go down alone, Lin Miaomiao blurted out. At worst, we can ask them to come in too. It's just to share some stuff with the assessment team. Compared to safety, stuff is actually not that important. Yi Hongwen was silent. Men are born with a spirit of adventure. The leader of the superpowers 1,000 years ago must have had many precious things in his hands. He didn't want the assessment team to take too much. After being together for so long, Lin Miaomiao could guess his thoughts and immediately became anxious. It doesn't matter if I have less stuff, but you can't be in trouble, Luo Cheng and others echoed. Boss, don't take risks alone. Let's dig the entrance to the passage bigger and then go in, Captain. Since you have to get off the mecha, then don't go down alone. Gu Qinghang was very rational. Our fleet is already developing, and we don't lack a few treasures. In addition to collecting the treasures obtained during the mission, the only way is to hand them over to the military in exchange for military funds, and they are exchanged at a discount, because the military said, cultural relics and the like originally belonged to the Federation. It's good enough that we are willing to pay hard work. Haven't you seen that the Empire directly collects them? Chapter 454 Doing something bad secretly. His girlfriend and teammates were all against it, even Gu Qinghang disagreed. Yi Hongwen could only suppress the urge to go down alone and inquire how long it would take to clean up outside. Lin Miaomiao breathed a sigh of relief at this, and she began to think about other things. The entrance was so small that the mecha couldn't get in. They would definitely have to dig it open or blow it up later. Even if there was something underneath, it would probably cause a lot of damage. Her eyes caught sight of the strange vine in her hand and the mutant parrot on her shoulder, and her eyes lit up instantly. Isn't there a way to get in here? Evergreen can grow very long. Then let Fork, who is smarter, go in and see if there's anything good. Take the treasure out first. The more he thought about it, the more feasible it seemed. Lin Miaomiao lowered the bathtub, took Fork off Aoksu's shoulder and put it in the bathtub, squatted down and opened the hatch of the mecha, and said to the two of them in a kind manner, I should be nice to you. I took you into the main hall and protected you from being killed by others. Fork trembled and looked at Aoksu warily. What do you want to say? In comparison, Chang Qing was a bit honest. If you didn't threaten me all the time, it would be good. Lin Miaomiao turned her head and rolled her eyes in an unladylike manner, then turned back and forced a smile on her face. As long as you are good, I will never threaten you in the future. Fork just listened to such words, but Chang Qing promised with surprise, I will definitely be obedient. Although the mutant parrot was a little dishonest, Lin Miaomiao was satisfied with the result, so she explained the situation straight to the point. Help us go down and take a look. I will give you a space button. If you have any treasures, put them in. We don't want coarse porcelain jars like those outside, and we don't want those rusty ironware. We want those glittering treasures." Chang Qing glanced at the passage and said in a tender voice, "But it's so dark down there, I'm scared, so I asked Fork to go with you." Lin Miaomiao tempted calmly, "If you perform well, I will buy you 2 bags of top-quality green nutrients after we return to the base, and let the robots fertilize you every day." Chang Qing was very surprised, and the vines were about to agree, but Fork fanned his wings. Fork said contemptuously, "You are useless. You are satisfied with 2 bags of nutrients. Don't forget that if there are treasures, they will make a fortune." Chang Qing hesitated. 2 bags were indeed a little too few, so he hardened his heart and raised the price. "I want 10 bags, deal." Lin Miaomiao agreed immediately. Fork was so angry that he jumped up and down, flapping his wings wildly at the strange vine. "I'll beat you to death, you good for nothing. You can't even negotiate terms. You'll be sold by the bad guys in the future without even knowing it." He then looked at the kidnapper and said, "I'm absolutely not going down there. Even if you kill me, I won't go." Yi Hongwen raised an eyebrow. This mutant parrot was quite determined, so he interrupted, "Since you're so unwilling, I'll beat you to death now, whatever, kill me or chop me up." Fork turned his head away, looking righteous and awe-inspiring. "Wow, such a courageous look." Lin Miaomiao was about to applaud, but before she did, she pulled out a bag of big, juicy apples. Fork's eyes immediately lit up green. "Apples! I want them," Fork shouted. "Keep your voice down." Lin Miaomiao glared at it fiercely, then looked at the tunnel entrance. "Then can't you go down?" Fork's backbone was thrown to the sky. "Go down? Of course go down. Broken vine, let's set off quickly. Don't wait for people to see us." Chang Qing muttered dissatisfiedly, "It's obviously you who are delaying time. I told you that the bad guys are the best. I will definitely help her." This sounded a bit strange, but in a hurry, Lin Miaomiao didn't care too much. He took out the space button that killed the armored snake last time and hung it around Fork's neck. "Just touch the thing and think about putting the thing in." The tunnel was pitch black. Lin Miaomiao took out another energy lamp and hung it on the end of Chang Qing's main vine. "There is a control button here. Press it and the light will come on. You can lead the way and hold it." "Got it." Chang Qing instantly stretched the vine and rolled up the energy lamp into the tunnel. Fork flapped its wings and flew up, following slowly behind. With these two inside, Lin Miaomiao felt much better. The next step was to delay the time for the people outside to come in. Yi Hongwen had already told Shan Yu and the others to slow down the cleanup when his girlfriend was coaxing the strange plants and beasts. Now that the negotiation was successful and the two went down to work, they decided to go outside to help and create an alibi for themselves. As for who discovered the entrance to the secret room, it was of course Chang Qing and Chazi. In order to make it more realistic, Lin Miaomiao raised her voice and said, "Chang Qing, if you want to change the nest, do it yourself. I have no obligation to help. By the way, Chazi also wants to eat apples. If you can find the switch of the secret room, I will reward you with a bag of big apples later." I asked him to go out to help. "You guys take your time. Come on." After shouting to the air in a serious manner, the two drove the mecha out. When they walked outside the main hall, Lin Miaomiao couldn't help laughing. The Shen Yu crew was engaged in a friendly exchange of blows with the alien beasts. They leisurely dodged their attacks, offering a few quick strikes, but they were still using cold weapons. They couldn't finish off a single level 4 alien beast for half an hour. The assessment team was valiant, dispatching each in minutes, but they were outnumbered, and there were still 200 or 300 alien beasts in the field. Shen Yu's level 3 mecha pilots were tasked with taking on one, and after half an hour, there were still nearly 200 surviving. Xingyu lost his patience. "Xian, go ask them what's going on and if they're tourists," Xingyu ordered. He usually delegated such tasks to Tianzihan, so as not to appear rude. But this time, Tianzihan was uncooperative, weakly refusing, "I'm just a small assessor. How dare I ask? The Shenyu people are so aggressive, useless." Xingyu cursed angrily, but he had no doubt that the Shenyu people, especially the captain, were indeed arrogant. Li Enho and the others didn't bother to ask, so Xingyu could only curse inwardly and go to the temporary channel to ask, "Captain Yi, what's wrong with your team members? Did they have enough to eat?" It took several people ages to fight a single alien beast. Perhaps it was because his tone was too harsh, but everyone in Shenyu felt unhappy. Those who had originally felt a little guilty now had lost all their energy. Some even shouted directly, "Boss, I'm out of energy. I want to rest," Ye Hongwen said readily. "Those who are feeling mentally exhausted, finish your work and move aside. Captain Yi, how long will it take you to finish clearing out the alien beasts like this?" Xingyu demanded angrily. "There's nothing we can do," Ye Hongwen pointed out coldly. "They were only level 3 mecha masters. Their mental strength can't compare to Captain Z's." Xingyu couldn't refute and could only watch as most of Shen Yu's men walked away. Chapter 455 Bargaining. What should have taken an hour to clear up was deliberately delayed by Shen Yu's men, dragging it out for 2 hours. Lin Miaomiao, purposefully or not, leaned toward the main hall entrance. Glancing inside, she saw that the 2 creatures she'd sent on their mischief had returned. "They're fine," Lin Miaomiao announced over the main channel. The level 3 mecha masters, who had been resting in the open area off to the side, cheered and rushed out, throwing themselves into the battlefield, where the few remaining alien beasts remained, slaughtering them in droves. "Have you rested?" Li Enho asked with a smile. He had long seen that Shen Yu's men were stalling for time, and instead of getting angry, he actually slowed down to cooperate. He didn't know why, but thinking of the 2 humanoid alien beasts and plants in the hall and the Big Apple reward for finding the secret room, he felt he had grasped the truth. "Rested," Liu Kaoyu replied loudly on behalf of her teammates. "That's good," Li Enho said with a meaningful smile. "We can now enter the main hall with peace of mind." Lin Miaomiao was embarrassed. She felt as if her little trick had been exposed, but this person didn't seem to care, so there shouldn't be any problem. Forget it, regardless of whether there was a problem or not, the thing had been done. Anyway, they had no evidence, and at most they would have an unhappy quarrel. She would never give up the benefits that were in her mouth. While she was daydreaming, everyone had already entered the main hall. Some were looking around, while others had already noticed the coarse porcelain jar beside the bed and squatted down to study it. Fork flew towards Lin Miaomiao. "Where's my apple?" "What apple?" Lin Miaomiao was so frustrated that she wanted to kill the parrot. "This silly bird, could it wait until we got back to ask for the reward?" To keep the secret hidden, she could only remind him, "Didn't I tell you? You'll get an apple if you find the treasure room. If you don't, there won't be any." "Found it," Fork fluttered and landed on Aoxu's head again. "It's right next to Broken Tangzi's new nest. Go and see if you don't believe me." Lin Miaomiao was surprised. This guy was cooperating well. At this time, Gu Qinghang smiled and interrupted, "Then let's go and take a look. If you really find it, even if Miaomiao doesn't give you an apple, I will." "Great," Fork cheered and rushed to the bathroom. "Come and check it out." The inspection naturally confirmed that they had indeed found the treasure room. Shen Yu and her group of idiots, thinking that the treasure inside must have been transferred to Fork, looked at him with eager eyes. "Good job, Fork. I'll give you something delicious when we get back," everyone praised. Cheng Qing refused to accept this. It was clearly his credit for finding the basement. "You're being biased. I only discovered the secret room when I changed nests. The stinking bird is taking credit for my work." Lin Miaomiao tried to reassure him, "Don't worry, I won't forget your share. I'll buy you 10 bags of premium green nutrients when I get home." This was already a negotiated condition, and she'd said it just to go through the motions and reassure Cheng Qing. But she hadn't expected Yi Ten to change his mind. 10 bags is too little. "I want 100, Cheng Qing asked, instantly increasing his demands tenfold. "What? 100 bags?" Lin Miaomiao couldn't believe her ears. The increase was too much? No, that's too much. It wasn't that she was stingy or couldn't afford it, but if she agreed, Yi Ten would definitely become even more arrogant. She absolutely couldn't encourage his arrogance. "How can it be too much?" Cheng Qing complained. He had heard from Fork that they had performed a great service, so it was only natural to ask for a larger reward. Lin Miaomiao was unmoved. 10 bags, do you want them? But it's too little, Cheng Qing said in a tender voice. "I'm so big, 10 bags are not enough for me for 2 days. Please." Fork said 100 bags is not a lot. He threw away his integrity for the sake of nutrients, and took the initiative to confess his accomplices. Gu Qinghang coughed lightly and interrupted, "Miaomiao, just agree to it. The fleet will provide the credit points for buying nutrients." Deputy Captain Gu, Lin Miaomiao was dissatisfied. "This is not a matter of credit points. This guy has a huge appetite. We can't spoil it, otherwise he will not listen in the future." Gu Qinghang's sweet dropped. Could it be that Miaomiao kept the strange vine as a pet? Forget it, as long as you're happy. He thought he had ushered in the dawn, but the original verdict was still upheld. Cheng Qing shed sad tears and could only compromise helplessly. 10 bags, so be it. Fork glared at it fiercely from a distance. It was not enough for him to betray himself, but he actually gave in the end. It was really disappointing. After the discussion, Yi Hongwen and Zimu agreed on a method for entering the secret chamber. It was rare to come across such a well-preserved ancient building, so it was best to leave the underground palace untouched. Therefore, they decided to dismount from their mechas and enter on foot. Since they were dismounting from their mechas, the person walking in front had to be careful. A high mecha master's rank didn't necessarily guarantee superior skill. For example, if Lin Miaomiao and Liu Caoyu fought without mechas, Caoyu would undoubtedly be the superior opponent, as the Liu family had trained in ancient martial arts from childhood. Although Liu Caoyu had never reached the third level of mecha master, she had a good grasp of ancient martial arts. While she couldn't take on 100, she could certainly handle 10. Yi Hongwen and Gu Qingheng had also practiced martial arts since childhood. Due to family reasons, Li Enho had learned to fight at a young age. While his moves were complex, his agility was remarkable. Naturally, the three of them led the charge, with Liu Caoyu and Liu Yifei following behind. Unsure of the situation below or the size of the secret chamber, the others waited. The strange vines and the mutant parrots hadn't lost many leaves or feathers, and they didn't look distressed, so Lin Miaomiao didn't worry too much. She simply said be careful as they went down, and then waited for news. However, after Yi Hongwen and his 4 companions had been gone for a long time, no news came back. Even the video call couldn't be connected. After several attempts, the usually calm Lin Miaomiao became anxious. Let's go down too. Since Captain Shen Yu and Deputy Captain were both away, Zimu felt it was his turn to take charge. He coughed lightly and said, wait a little longer. Maybe we'll get news soon. We've only been down for half an hour. Why rush? Lin Miaomiao frowned. If the video call couldn't be connected, either the signal was cut off or something had happened. In either case, she didn't think it was necessary to wait any longer. No, I want to go down, Lin Miaomiao said, unable to wait any longer. Those of you who want to go down now, come with me. Those who don't want to, stay up there and wait. Luo Cheng and the others were already eager to try, and with someone leading the charge, they immediately dismounted from their mechas. The more skilled ones took the initiative and moved to the front, sandwiching the female soldiers in the middle of the group. They then formed a team and prepared to enter the secret room. You are so disorganized and undisciplined. Don't forget your status. Zimu was furious. Unsure of the situation below, he naturally refused to rashly dismount from his mecha and enter the secret room. Zimu had actually planned to wait another half hour without any news. He would use this as an excuse to dig a passage and enter directly. As for whether or not to harm the people inside, in times of emergency, some things could not be considered. Unfortunately, his plan was thwarted by Lin Miaomiao. Shen Yu's men were ready to go down, and even several of his assessors were eager to move. Chapter 456 Entering the Basement. No matter how Zimu protested, the people of Shen Yu wouldn't listen. As Luo Cheng had said, with the captain away, the crew naturally falls under the management of us team leaders. There's no need for Captain Zhu's help. However, even in his haste to rescue them, Luo Cheng didn't lose his composure. He assigned several level 5 mecha operators and a dozen or so level 4 mecha operators to guard the area. Zimu's character wasn't great, so he still had to be on guard. If anything goes wrong, just ask Mengjia's people for help. And back up the military, too, to avoid being tricked without knowing it, Luo Cheng warned brightly. I know, Wen Zixi said impatiently. I've been in contact with Zhao Cheng. If anything goes wrong, he'll get the news. Zimu was furious again. He'd realized that whenever he ran into someone from Shen Yu, nothing good would happen. He couldn't vent his anger when talking to them, because they wouldn't listen. What made him even angrier was that because of the anxiety of Shen Yu and the others, Yao Hong and others who had a good relationship with Li Enho could no longer hold back and asked to enter the basement. What if something happens down there? Don't worry, Zimu said unhappily, so many of them have gone down there, what is there to worry about? Just wait upstairs. But Enho is still down there, someone said worriedly. What if Shen Yu's people are only focused on rescuing their own team members? Wouldn't that be better? Zimu thought to himself but didn't dare to say it out loud. He could only smile and say, no, Enho has such a good relationship with Captain Yi, Shen Yu's people won't sit idly by and watch him. Yao Hong's heart sank. Wasn't the Z guy just trying to take the opportunity to exclude dissidents? After a change of mind, he said with a little regret, "Okay, I just don't know if there are many treasures down there. They are all Shen Yu's people who have gone down. I'm afraid we won't be able to share them. We haven't gotten anything good since joining the assessment team." Xingyu was stunned. He actually forgot such an important thing. Is it too late to change his words now? Well, Yao Hong, you take Bian Seihan and keep watch up there, Xingyu said gently and amiably. I've thought about it, and I think we should go down and look for Enho. We're already short on people, and we can't let anything happen to him. Team leader, are you going down there yourself? Or should I? We don't know if there's any danger down there. No. Xingyu opened his mouth to refuse, but then realized he was too eager and quickly explained, you worked so hard cleaning up the monsters just now. You should rest for a while. Xingyu was naturally suspicious, so he had to personally monitor the treasure. Yao Hong understood this and could only helplessly watch as everyone else dismounted from their mechas. Lin Miaomiao had no interest in watching the excitement of the assessment team. She didn't care much about Xingyu's backtracking. They were more people, but entering the basement naturally required some precautions. So she turned her attention to Changqing and Chazitao, who had been there before. Changqing, you can quickly expand and shrink, making you perfect for exploring. Why don't you lead us down? Changqing's vine swayed a few times, and he timidly said, 100 bags, okay, lead the way. Lin Miaomiao readily agreed. Changqing thought ruefully. I should have asked for 200 bags, unfortunately, the terms had already been agreed, so Changqing had no choice but to set off. Lin Miaomiao followed closely beside him, and the others from Shen Yu followed suit, one after another entering the basement. Xingyu hesitated as he watched Changqing's ever-growing vines. This was a level 6 alien plant. If it suddenly attacked, it would be a disaster. After a moment of hesitation, he couldn't let go of the treasures that might be found within. He gritted his teeth and followed the 4 team members down. The stairs were steep, almost straight down, and he had to hold on to the wall to steady himself, otherwise he would easily fall. Lin Miaomiao followed Changqing down the stairs and entered a bluestone passage. The passage was about 6 meters high and 5 meters wide, which was barely enough for a mecha to pass through, but it was not convenient for turning around, so she did not summon Aoksu. The energy lamp stayed in the air, illuminating the front and back. Everyone could clearly see that there were many luminous stones inlaid on the wall. It was a pity that there was no sunlight here and no energy replenishment, so they became dim. These luminous stones are quite interesting. I'll dig some for fun after I find the boss, Yuzixin said with a smile. Those holes on the wall of the main hall are also inlaid with luminous stones, right? Xingyu quickly reacted. This was too obvious, and Lin Miaomiao did not intend to deny it. Yes, Changqing and Chazi were interested in those stones, so they moved them back. Changqing was confused. Weren't the luminous stones dug out when they were looking for the basement? How could it be his fault again? After walking about 200 meters, they encountered another staircase leading down. Lin Miaomiao curled her lips. What kind of secret room is this? There's another staircase just down the stairs. Are they trying to dig through the energy star? Fortunately, the stairs this time were gentler and easier to walk on without risk of falling. They resumed their formation and continued down. During this time, Luo Cheng tried to switch positions with Lin Miaomiao, moving her to the middle, but was rejected. Changqing will protect me, Lin Miaomiao said nonchalantly. For its nutrients, yes, I'm obedient and will protect the bad guys, Changqing agreed. Then you should be careful too, Luo Cheng reluctantly compromised. The strange vines tended to listen to the little cook, so he wouldn't be able to get through in front. After descending the stairs, they found another bluestone passage. However, this time, it was significantly larger, about 10 meters high and 7 or 8 meters wide, easily enough for a mecha to operate. Lin Miaomiao was about to summon Aoksu when Feng Liken suddenly announced, no signal. We can't contact Wenzixi, no wonder we can't reach the boss, Luo Cheng said with a helpless smile. We don't know where the boss and the others are. They didn't even turn back to inform us when they realized there was no signal, Lin Miaomiao said coldly, get on the mech. We'll discuss this later. Let's find someone first. There were no stairs leading down this floor. The bluestone passage ended at a sealed stone gate. Two vivid stone dragons, their mouths wide open and their eyes bulging, looked incredibly ferocious, as if ready to attack at any moment. "We need to find a mechanism to get in," Luo Cheng said, rushing forward and carefully examining the stone gate. The dragon's eyes, mouths, and scales all failed to escape his grasp, being pressed repeatedly. Fortunately, Luo Cheng was experienced and had the mech use less force. The stone dragons remained intact, with only a few cracks on their fangs. Overall, they looked very vigorous. After pressing the double dragon button several times with no success, Luo Cheng sullenly stepped aside to make room. Since he couldn't find the mechanism, he had to give others a chance to investigate. "Let me look," Yuzixin excitedly rushed out, fumbling and pushing at the stone door, then extending his claws to the blue stone walls on either side of the door. Lin Miaomiao couldn't stand that any longer and turned to ask Yi Teng, who had come down, "Do you know how to open the door?" Chang Twing certainly knew. "There's a different stone on the ceiling. Push it up and the door will open." Luo Cheng and Yuzixin, who had been searching for the mechanism for a long time, cried. Yi Teng must have had a lot of fun watching the show just now. Chapter 457 Double-Decker Underground Palace. Knowing the mechanism made things easier. They looked up at the ceiling for a long moment before spotting a darker blue stone slab above the door. Pushing it upward, the door roared open. This time, Luo Cheng rushed in, stunned. "What's going on? This place is exactly like up there." Everyone hurried in and was stunned. It was identical to the main hall above, divided into meeting room, living room, and bedroom. Even the stone table and benches were in the same positions. The only difference was that there were no straw curtains separating them. Beneath the curtains lay a thick layer of dust. This was a place unknown to the Beast King, so no one cleaned it. Thick dust covered the area. Numerous messy mecha footprints could be clearly seen on the ground, likely left by Yi Hongwen and the others who had entered earlier. "Where are they? Our entrance made such a commotion. If they're still here, there's no way they wouldn't come over," Lin Miaomiao said, her heart aching. The underground palace built by the supernatural 1,000 years ago was truly impressive. Luo Cheng tried searching Yi Hongwen's mecha communication channel, but still couldn't find a signal. He could only sigh and say, "Everyone, look around to see if there's any traps or something. The boss and the others have been here before, so they must have found another trap." Everyone dispersed in response. Lin Miaomiao, remembering where they had come down from, headed straight for the bathroom. Unfortunately, there was nothing unusual there. The bathtub, however, had been cut down and put aside. It was obvious that the people who came in first wanted to see if there was the same trap there. Judging from the mecha footprints and handprints everywhere, Yi Hongwen and the others had searched carefully. However, Lin Miaomiao still didn't give up and searched again. The strange vine that followed beside him said blankly, "There's no trap." "I looked too," Chang Twing was talking about when he and Chazi came down alone just now. Apart from the bathtub, which was too troublesome to move, he had also searched the bathroom several times but found no other traps. "Ah, there's a dead body here," a scream echoed from outside. Lin Miaomiao's heart sank, and she rushed out, rushing towards the gathering place. Upon approaching, she saw a dried corpse, nearly buried in dust, lying on a large stone bed. Someone whipped out an energy fan and blew it toward the bed. Then, everyone's eyes snapped open. The corpse was naked, its features shrunken and blurred, but its physical features suggested it was male. This must be the leader of the superpowers from 1,000 years ago, Luo Cheng speculated. The bathroom mechanism was well hidden, the passage they had descended from was violently cut open, yet this person appeared here with the mechanism intact. He could only be someone who understood the mechanism. "Perhaps," Lin Miaomiao said, still uncertain. Chang Qing said that after the Great War between superpowers 1,000 years ago, no human has set foot on this planet. But that internal conflict was so devastating, it's not impossible that someone who wants to seize the throne is buried here. With such a vast underground palace, it's impossible that only the leader knows about it. Okay, Luo Cheng had to admit, but the person's identity wasn't important. The most urgent task was to find the whereabouts of the boss and the others. "There's a body here. If they saw it, they would definitely stop," Yu Hongbo asked Bai Jin, who had just screamed. "Are there any signs of foot traffic here before you came?" Bai Jin thought for a moment. "Yes, the footprints led directly to the bed. Could there be a trap here?" Luo Cheng muttered to himself. Even without him saying anything, The Shen Yu team members were already searching for it. Aside from Zimu, who stared thoughtfully at the mummy on the stone bed, the other 4 members of the assessment team were also busy. "Look here," Yu Zixin shouted in surprise. "There's a mark on the eye of this relief. It looks like it was kicked by a mecha. Could it be a machine?" Everyone turned to look, only to see Yu Zixin already aggressively kicking forward. "Stop!" Luo Chang yelled, trying to stop Yuerho. Unfortunately, it was too late. The ground beneath his feet cracked, revealing a hole over 10 meters long and wide. Yu Zixin and Zimu, who were standing beside him, instantly fell in. Zin, Zhu Chen, Lin Miaomiao, and Feng Liken immediately gave chase. Luo Cheng held his forehead with his hands. How could this guy be as reckless as Liu He? Luckily, Zhu Chen was there to clean up after him. Speaking of which, he often cleaned up Liu He's mess, just like Zhu Chen was doing now. Wait, Luo Cheng couldn't help but shudder. Pa, those two were a couple. How could he compare them so casually? He liked gentle and beautiful girls. No, after this mission, he needed to take some time off and find a girlfriend. Otherwise, everyone would misunderstand him and not think he hadn't heard the recent rumors in the fleet. Recovering from his daze, Luo Cheng said to the group still standing there, "Let's go. Some of you follow me down, and some will stay up there to guard. If we can't get out, flip the switch if you hear any noise." The group responded, automatically splitting into 2 groups. The larger group followed Luo Cheng down, while the remaining 30 or 40 people remained up there waiting. Yu Zixin, the first to fall, had already hit the ground. It happened so suddenly that he hadn't reacted at all. Only after landing did he realize what had happened and howled, "You stinky Chen! You didn't even save me. Did you deliberately want me to die and find a new one?" Zhu Chen, who had just landed, stumbled and nearly fell to the ground. "You're full of life, even throwing tantrums with your boyfriend. It seems you're okay," Lin Miaomiao teased with a half-smile. Feng Liken sighed, "I hate those of you who flaunt your affection, regardless of the occasion. You're just jealous." Yu Zixin hummed softly and leaped to his feet. He no longer questioned Zhu Chen's lack of protection. In a good mood, he took out an energy lamp and threw it into the air, illuminating the entire area. Hiss! Several people gasped in surprise. They hadn't noticed in the darkness before, feeling as if they had stepped on something. Now they realized the place was filled with mummies, men, women, young and old, even babies. How could this happen? After 1,000 years, shouldn't the dead people have turned into dust long ago? Lin Miaomiao hurriedly commanded Aoxa to fly off the ground. The feeling of stepping on a pile of corpses was really bad. She felt a little numb on her scalp. Why did the ones here turn into mummies? Zhu Chen smiled bitterly. Because this place has been sealed for a long time. The lack of air circulation causes the temperature to keep rising. Roasting the dead into mummies, wow, with so many corpses thrown under the bed, how can the leader of the superpowers sleep at night? Yu Zixin felt unwell. Could he be a pervert? Impossible. Who can stand it? Luo Chang, who had just come in, retorted without thinking. There must be at least hundreds of mummies here. Maybe after the rebellion, the leader locked up the rebels here. Chapter 458 The Identity of the Mummy. No, these people are the natives of the Energy Star. Yi Hongwen's cold voice suddenly sounded behind everyone, or rather, they are the first ordinary people to move here after discovering that there are many habitable planets in the universe. Boss, everyone shouted in surprise, forgetting what they were discussing just now. Lin Miaomiao, who was so anxious just now, was calm. Yi Hongwen, you are still alive. Everyone frowned. What was he talking about? Where did the person who was so anxious that he was about to cry just now go? What was even more speechless was that Yi Hongwen responded, yeah, still alive. Well, everyone was no longer able to complain. This couple was really weird. Captain Yi, stop talking nonsense and get to the point, Xingyu interrupted impatiently. What's going on here? What evidence do you have for saying these are the natives of the Energy Star? Yi Hongwen was very upset that someone was ruining the atmosphere, but he couldn't get angry just because someone was talking about business, so he had to answer coldly, there is a tunnel here. There is an iron mine along the tunnel. These people were captured by the psychics to help dig iron ore. Xingyu was extremely surprised. Although there are better metals than iron now, iron ore is still an indispensable thing for the Federation. Discovering an iron mine is also a great achievement. That's not right, Lin Miaomiao thought, feeling something was off. If there were iron ore here, why aren't there any iron objects here? Even the pots are made of stone. That's perfectly normal, Liu Kaier quickly replied. Because they've mined iron ore, but they don't know how to refine it. They're still researching, aren't they psychics? Even metal psychics can't do anything about it. Isn't it said that metal psychics can change the shape of all metals? Refining some iron shouldn't be a problem, right? Liu Kaier was speechless. Miaomiao, where did you come up with such a ridiculous conclusion, huh? Isn't that the case? Lin Miaomiao expressed surprise. Isn't that what the novels say? No, Liu Kaier began to recite. Historical records say that metal psychics can use metal to attack, with enormous destructive power, but only to expose pure metal. If even the steel bars in the walls could be used, metal psychics would be invincible in the city. After all, cities are full of tall buildings, and there's no shortage of steel bars for support structures, so they can't refine iron ore at all. Xing Yu was impatient to listen to their explanations. His only concern now was the iron mine. To confirm the truth of the matter, he decided to go and see it for himself. "Enhua, take me there," Xing Yu ordered. While iron mines aren't as important as energy mines, they're still needed by the government. Okay, Li Enhua briskly turned and headed back the way they'd come. Xing Yu wasn't the only one who wanted to see what the iron mine looked like, so they all followed. Lin Miaomiao breathed a sigh of relief after leaving the pile of mummies behind. Even though she later turned the camera angle on the ceiling, intentionally avoiding looking at the mummies, the initial impression lingered, making even standing there unsettling. After walking for a few minutes, a 2-meter-high and wide bluestone passage appeared before them. Li Enhua hopped out of his mecha and prepared to walk. It's a very narrow passage ahead. We have to walk through it. With their experience in the secret room, everyone didn't even bother to worry. They dismounted their mechas, tucked them into their space buttons, and entered the passage in groups of 2 or 3. Lin Miaomiao did as she was told, but she was still uneasy. She took a few steps closer to her boyfriend and whispered, "Are there any more mummies over there?" "Yes," Yi Hongwen said honestly, "but not many, only a few dozen." Lin Miaomiao's face paled. If a few dozen wasn't a lot, then what was considered a lot? The thought of having to walk and get up close and personal with those mummies made her feel sick. "Why don't I wait here?" Lin Miaomiao said weakly. No matter how curious she was about the iron ore, she didn't want to go. "Don't be afraid, I'm here," Yi Hongwen said, taking her hand. "I'm worried about you staying here. Besides, it's not far from where we came in. Just think about the piles of mummies over there." Lin Miaomiao glared at him. "You're so annoying," but she changed her mind and decided not to stay. After walking about 500 meters along the tunnel, several large rooms, or warehouses, appeared on both sides. The warehouses were filled with a lot of iron ore, large and small, and it looked very impressive. Xing Yu eagerly entered, unearthed a portable detector, and began examining the iron ore. After confirming that Yi Hongwen and the others were indeed telling the truth, he practically burst into tears of joy. "Great! Our team has accomplished a great feat this time." Xing Yu imagined the military's reaction upon hearing the news. A reward was inevitable. Liu Yifei pouted, unconvinced. "It seems not all the members of your assessment team discovered this iron ore. Only one of the 5 people who entered first was from your team. Are you really going to take all the credit?" Xing Yu, basking in his joy, was suddenly struck coldly. He turned sharply, glaring at the Shenyu group with gloomy eyes, his gaze flickering as if he were calculating something. If he could keep the Shenyu group here, could he claim all the credit? But that was just speculation. The assessment team only had a few members, and they couldn't possibly capture Shenyu's forces. Besides, Li Enhua and the others weren't on the same page with him. Haha, Xing Yu laughed, but his eyes were devoid of amusement. "I was just so happy to see all this that I said the wrong thing. I'm so sorry." Liu Yifei was no fool, he'd sensed a fleeting murderous intent. He sneered inwardly, but said, "It's okay. I understand how you feel." Xing Yu knew he'd get nowhere if he continued this conversation, so he abruptly changed the subject. Looking at the mummies leaning against the wall, he said, "Captain Yi just said these were ordinary people who migrated here before the psychics. I wonder how you came to that conclusion? Could it be a guess?" Even if it was a change of subject, he was trying to find a way to make Yi Hongwen uncomfortable, an attempt to make him uncomfortable. Yi Hongwen understood his meaning, but sneered, "Captain Z can read too. Why don't you go over to those mummies and take a look? There's evidence there." Xing Yu was startled. There were 7 or 8 terrifying mummies there. Even for a brave man, looking at them was terrifying. He truly didn't want to go over to see the evidence. Mecha pilots fought in mechas. While fighting alien beasts wasn't a big deal if they weren't of the same species, fighting pirates was done through mechas, often blasting the mechas into dust along with them. Even if they weren't, the dead inside the mechas mostly died from mental exhaustion or bleeding from the pressure of the mecha cabin, so their appearance wasn't particularly tragic. So, faced with these mummified corpses, no one wanted to look at them for more than a second. For example, Lin Miaomiao reflexively glanced in the direction Yi Hongwen pointed, and was so frightened that she rushed into someone's arms. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459, The Story Left by the Miners. Wow, Miaomiao, why are you showing off your affection regardless of the occasion again? Liu Kaoyer's indignant voice broke the silence, and everyone's heavy mood was dispelled a lot. Lin Miaomiao looked up at Liu Kaoyer, who was standing behind Yi Hongwen facing her, with a blank face and contempt for her friend. What? Are you jealous? I'm not jealous at all. Liu Kaoyer was like a cat whose tail was stepped on, and her fur instantly stood up. I just think it's an eyesore. Every time this issue was brought up, she would be particularly excited, as if her sore spot had been stepped on. This time she was even more excited and said loudly, I have a bunch of suitors behind me. You see, it won't be long before I will no longer be single, Liu Yifei said faintly, and, are you sure you can find an uncle for me this year? You know, my grandfather has been worried about your lifelong event. The great-grandfather of the Liu family is over 100 years old. He doesn't go out at his old age. The only thing he cares about is his youngest daughter's lifelong event. Before Liu Kaoyer graduated, he mobilized several eldest sons to introduce promising young men to his younger sister. He was forced to go on blind dates dozens of times but to no avail. In the end, Great-Grandpa Liu told everyone he met that his hair had turned gray with worry about his youngest daughter's marriage. Of course, Liu Kaoyer refused to admit this, saying, it's normal for an old man to have gray hair at his age. There was no need to delve into the truth now. After all, the situation was inappropriate, and someone had already impatiently interrupted their conversation. Captain Yi, please tell me what evidence is there, Zimyu said, his feet as if they were stuck with nails, refusing to move. Yi Hongwen said indifferently, seeing is believing. I think Captain Z should move over to take a look, otherwise you'll think we're lying. At this point, even though Zimyu was reluctant, he had no choice but to move over, but he didn't forget to find a few companions for courage. Li Enhua, who had been singled out, had a glint of irony in his eyes. He was so cowardly, and just now he had even considered killing someone to silence them. I wonder if this could be considered bribery. Turning around, he saw the cold man tenderly embracing his girlfriend. Despite his youth, he possessed courage and ability, far surpassing Zimyu's. Recalling his earlier proposal, he felt a certain degree of agreement. Zimyu moved closer to the corpse, not daring to glance at it for long, only casually glancing around with his peripheral vision. Fortunately, the evidence was clear, some words carved on the wall, briefly describing the origins of the miners there. These words were ordinary Chinese characters, the language currently used by the Federation, carved by a miner. It turned out that after the apocalypse, Earth was severely polluted. Humans had developed manned spaceships, sending the survivors to selected planets in batches. However, one of the spaceships encountered a cosmic hurricane, damaging its power system beyond repair. Forced to land on an energy planet, unable to communicate with the outside world, they were forced to remain there. The people on that spaceship took root on this planet. Although wild beasts roamed the forests, life was quite comfortable if they didn't venture out. Decades passed in the blink of an eye. And they thought life would continue like this until a group of supernatural beings suddenly arrived from outer space. At first, the people who had settled here were delighted. The presence of the psychics meant their safety was more secure. Perhaps they could even receive news of other humans and reunite with the main force. While life was good now, who had turned down a bitter life? Then a nightmare struck. These psychics had fled here after failing to gain power, and needed someone to vent their anger on. They slaughtered, robbed, and persecuted ordinary people, leaving them vulnerable. They finally stopped, only to find about 10,000 ordinary people still alive. Even after they stopped taking their anger out on the ordinary people, the psychics still targeted them, treating them as if they were working for them. Building the underground palace required strong labor, so the young men did the manual labor, while the beautiful young women entertained the psychics. The elderly farmed and hunted to satisfy their appetites. Building the underground palace exhausted most of the young and middle-aged men, especially because the psychics were eager to move in and use their powers to help. Otherwise, how could ordinary people without tools build such a large double-layer underground palace? After the underground palace was completed, the psychics discovered iron ore not far away. However, the deep forest was teeming with monstrous beasts, making it impossible for ordinary people to mine. The psychics were unwilling to kill the beasts for them, so they finally came up with a brilliant idea. If digging from the ground down didn't work, why not dig from the ground up? So, they added another layer below the double-layer underground palace and locked up all the surviving ordinary people, except for the young and beautiful women, inside. Even the elderly with children were not spared, forcing them to dig day and night, with only 2 hours of sleep in the corner each day. They ate the inedible dry steamed bread provided by the psychics, which was only the size of 2 fists a day, regardless of gender or age. The ore they dug every day had to be delivered to the warehouse. If the amount of iron ore delivered one day was too little, they would have no food to eat the next day. After a few months of such difficult days, the psychic asked them to come up with a way to smelt iron, otherwise they would starve to death in this basement. The miners studied for 2 months, and just when they were about to get results, the psychic suddenly disappeared. They had no way to get out. There was no mechanism to open the door below. In the end, they could only gather under the mechanism and wait for death, hoping that the ceiling would open again before they died. The miner who recorded this also speculated about the disappearance of the psychic. He believed that there were many strange beasts here. Living in the underground palace under the cliff would inevitably lead to more contact with strange beasts. It is possible that they were wiped out by being found at their doorstep. Of course, he did not rule out the possibility that these psychics had become stronger and wanted to go back for revenge. After finally reading the last word, Xingyu, annoyed, rushed back to the group. Just as he was about to speak, he saw the Shenyu group gathered around Liu Yifei's virtual communication screen, looking at something. Looking closely, he saw a screenshot of the text carved on the wall near the mummy. His face flushed red with anger. You guys," Xingyu pointed at Liu Yifei, panting heavily, as if he was about to die. "Oh, team leader, don't get excited," Li Enho shouted exaggeratedly. "Don't forget what Dr. G said, you can't get angry recently." Liu Yifei also echoed, "Thank you, team leader, your body is your own, you have to take care of yourself. By the way, the origins of the miners you just saw are quite interesting, digging from the bottom up, which is really an unusual way. It's not interesting at all. This is extremely dangerous. If you are not careful, rocks will fall down." Liu Kaoyer was very worried. "Look at these ores, the largest ones weigh thousands of pounds. If they are not supported when digging, the consequences will be unimaginable. I don't know if there are any safety measures." Lin Miaomiao was speechless. "Forget it, these people have turned into mummies now, Kaoyer, don't worry about the ancients." Chapter 460 Eating Alone. With the origins of the mummy clarified and the iron ore discovered, things seemed to be looking smooth. Ye Hongwen decided to return to the first level of the underground palace. They'd been delayed for ages in the main hall, and hadn't yet checked the rear hall. What if Meng Jia had gotten there first? Unexpectedly, Xingyu, upon seeing the iron ore, had completely disregarded everything else. Having found nothing valuable in the main halls on either level, he doubted there would be anything in the rear hall. He insisted on checking the mine. "We need to find out what's going on. If it's hollowed out, we can transport the ore directly back to the military headquarters. If not, we'll have another mine to mine." Ye Hongwen refused. "That place is structurally unstable, with huge cracks on top. Going in is a dangerous undertaking. I won't let my team take that risk." Lin Miaomiao's heart sank. He was so certain, he probably had already checked it out. Thankfully, nothing had happened. Also, I've taken videos and pictures of the interior of the iron ore mine. I'll submit them to the military as soon as I get back. They'll have the final say on what to do next. Ye Hongwen's inspections indicated that the ore hadn't been mined much, and they'd likely need to bring in more people to mine it. The safest approach would be to fill the bottom first and then start mining from above. This would reduce the risk to the miners, but the specifics would still be determined by the developer. Zumu's eyes widened in anger. He had been planning this, but Ye Hongwen hadn't spoken out before him. He turned to Lin Yin and asked, "You didn't take any pictures or videos?" "No," Lin Yin replied calmly. "Captain Yi and I will be going in together. One will take the pictures, the other will be responsible for safety." "Why not you?" Zimu blurted out. Lin Yin was surprised. "He's the captain, and I'm just an assessor. It's not appropriate for him to protect me, is it?" Zimu was speechless. He didn't dare to say it was appropriate, so he could only suppress his anger. By then, Ye Hongwen had already led the Shenyu group back home, and no matter how unhappy he was, he had no choice but to follow. At the end of the passage, everyone spontaneously boarded their mechas. Ahead lay a pile of mummies, and they didn't want to step on them. That would be disrespectful to the dead and would only cause them trouble. After reaching the exit, Luo Cheng controlled the mecha and punched the ceiling. The ceiling shook, but because it was so thick, no cracks appeared. The movement seemed subtle, and he wondered if they had noticed anything. After waiting for a while and seeing no mechanism activated, he went up and punched twice more. After the fourth punch, the ceiling suddenly split apart. His fist had already been swung out, and he couldn't retract it in time. The impact carried him outward, directly hitting the ceiling. Tisk, the impact is so strong, how much force must be used? Liu Yifei sighed. Aren't you afraid that if it breaks through, the ceiling will fall and bury us alive? Luo Cheng coughed lightly in defense. I've tried it and I can withstand it. Besides, it's just a ceiling. It won't kill you if it falls. Liu Yifei's face darkened. Just because it can't kill him, he has no scruples, right? This Luo guy is too unreliable. Alright, Ye Hongwen interrupted the two people's quarrel. It's already 1:30 in the afternoon. Let's go to the first floor to rest and fill our stomachs. In the underground palace, the food to fill their stomachs is naturally the box of nutrient supplements that every mecha operator must have. Hundreds of people sitting together drinking nutrient supplements is a spectacular sight. Lin Miaomiao leaned against Ye Hongwen and guzzled a bottle of red date-flavored nutritional supplements. The red dates were sweet and delicious, but she had to drink them sparingly. She hadn't been on many missions yet, so she didn't consider nutritional supplements a disaster. She just felt a little uncomfortable without chewing anything, so she took out a bag of 5-spice dried meat and started chewing on it. After a few bites of the dried meat, she remembered that she had forgotten one of the ones that served as a backrest for her, so she grabbed a handful and stuffed it into his mouth. Ye Hongwen chewed hard, chewed, and swallowed the one in his mouth, but another handful was stuffed into his mouth. He smiled bitterly. Feeding snacks sounded sweet, but he couldn't handle it this way. He quickly pushed the handful away and said, "You eat it." "I don't really feel like eating right now," Lin Miaomiao said with a wooden face. "Then don't say I eat alone." "No, you take your time eating," Ye Hongwen said softly. Liu Yifei, watching from the side, looked on with envy. "Little cook, this dried meat smells delicious. You can't finish this big bag, how about giving me some?" Lin Miaomiao glanced around and saw many people staring at her eagerly. She hesitated to agree. "This is all I have. It wouldn't be enough if I gave it to you. How about this? I have some 5-spice dried tofu and lotus root here. Let's share." She then pulled out a large bag of dried tofu and lotus root, weighing about 40 to 50 kilograms. She had braised them a couple of days ago when she was bored on the ship and was going to share them with a few friends. It would be nice to share them with everyone now. It was a bit disappointing that there was no dried meat, but having dried tofu and lotus root was good, better than nothing at all. Liu Yifei stood up and strode over, practically snatching the food away. Then he circled everyone, giving each person 2 pieces of dried tofu and 2 pieces of lotus root, and they just huddled in a corner to eat the rest. "Everyone, this is so unfair." However, falling out over a couple of bites was too humiliating, so everyone could only endure it silently. Liu Kaoyer and the others didn't mind. They had plenty of snacks on hand, all Miaomiao had picked up during the past 2 days of boredom: egg biscuits, milk cookies, 5-spice dried meat, salted peanuts, and so on. Unfortunately, there were too many people, so they didn't dare to take them out. These bandits had no sense of courtesy. They didn't rob Miaomiao because their boss was there to show off, but they were different. If they took out their food, they'd probably be robbed, and the packaging would disappear. After eating and drinking, everyone gathered together and chatted for about 10 minutes. Once Yi Hongwen had hugged his girlfriend enough, he called everyone else and moved to the back hall. The back hall was about the same size as the main hall, but it was divided into several suites, each with a separate exit from the hallway. Zhumyu was secretly delighted and was about to ask Yi Hongwen to divide the areas. But he didn't expect Shenyu and the others to obey his orders and directly split into several waves to rush into the rooms. Zhumyu was so angry that he was shaking all over. He wanted to scold these unruly guys, but he didn't expect Li Yanhu to rush into a random room with Yao Hong. Now he didn't even have the chance to vent his anger. Gu Qinghang smiled gently. We have spoiled these guys. They don't even know the rules. I'm sorry to make you laugh, Captain Z. Captain Gu, you are joking. Let's go in and take a look. Zhumyu forced a chuckle and rushed into another room without caring about losing his composure. Tisk, he is too utilitarian. No wonder his subordinates are not convinced, Luo Cheng sighed. It's a pity that he is sitting in a mecha, otherwise I would probably see his face turn dark, Yi Hongwen said lightly. After all, he is one of the outstanding leaders of the evaluation team. Don't push him too hard, don't worry, we know our limits, Luo Cheng assured, patting his chest. Unfortunately, no one saw it. Chapter 461 7th Level Beast. Zhumyu, who had rushed into the room impatiently, soon emerged. Not only him, but all the mechas that had entered the suite had left, driven out by a three-headed blackbird with 7 vibrant feathers on its tail. A 7th level three-headed bird, Yi Hongwen wondered. Why is there one here too? Three-headed birds were rare to begin with, and those that reached the 7th level were even rarer. He had encountered 2 in less than a year, and he was certain they weren't the same one, as this one was smaller and its feathers were darker. Regardless of the reason for the 7th level three-headed bird appearing here, he had to destroy it once he encountered it. Yi Hongwen rushed forward with his sword and struck, stopping the bird with a single blow, allowing the others to evade him. Everyone else moved aside. Seeing Zhumyu also trying to retreat, Yi Hongwen bluntly said, Captain Z, you're at the peak of the 6th level. I'm afraid we'll have to rely on you to deal with the 7th level beast. Zhumyu, who had been trying to avoid it, gritted his teeth. This 7th level beast was a formidable opponent. Once it latched on, he'd be stuck for a while, and how could he possibly go treasure hunting? Even more infuriating was what was happening behind him. Li Enhu and 4 other 6th level mecha pilots rushed out upon hearing about the 7th level beast, not even bothering to search for treasure, excitedly joining the attack on the 7-headed bird. Chi-chi-chi, the 3-headed bird chirped a few times, and one of its heads unleashed a burst of black flames at them. Yi Hongwen, Li Enhu, and the others instinctively dodged, but Zhumyu, filled with resentment, ignored the strange color of the flames and continued charging. He then suffered the bitter consequences of his carelessness. The flames melted the mecha as soon as they struck it, burning a large section of the dark blue mecha's cabin and right arm. Fortunately, this was only a probing attack, and the flames quickly died down. Zhumyu shuddered and hastily retreated, not daring to enter the 3-headed bird again. Seeing the damage to his mecha, Yi Hongwen didn't force him to charge forward. He and Li Enhu held the 3-headed bird on either side, allowing the others to attack more smoothly. What the hell are these black flames? They can even melt mechas. I've never heard of anything special about the 3-headed bird's flames, Yao Hong complained. Fighting like this is incredibly stressful. Despite its enormous size and 3-pronged superpowers, the 3-headed bird wasn't a serious threat. While its powers were powerful, they were only ordinary ones, unlikely to instantly destroy a mecha. This particular black flame was a special case. Try to avoid its supernatural attacks. This 7th level 3-headed bird seems a little different, Yi Hongwen said seriously. If that doesn't work, we can only find a way to lure it out of the underground palace and use high-damage thermal weapons outside. After all, the underground palace is deep inside the mountain. If the weapons used are too powerful, it can easily cause a collapse. If the underground palace collapses, even the sturdiest mechas will be destroyed. Therefore, when fighting inside the underground palace, everyone feels a sense of restraint. Taking advantage of the siege of the 3-headed bird, Lin Miaomiao sneaked into the suite that everyone had just been driven out of. With chanking and fork in hand, she wanted to take advantage of the gap when no one was paying attention to see their harvest on the 2nd floor of the underground palace. If the value is not as good as 10 bags of nutrients and a bag of large apples, wouldn't it be a loss? Entering the room, Lin Miaomiao was stunned. The decor here was a stark contrast to the main hall of the underground palace. While the former was resplendent and magnificent, this one was austere and elegant. Besides its spaciousness, it lacked any other distinctive features. The floor was paved with white marble, the walls were painted a brilliant white, and the outer room contained nothing but a white stone table and stone benches. After taking a look around, she had only one thought: what was the paint on these walls? What material was it made of? After thousands of years, it still remained flawless, without a trace of yellowing or darkening. It must be a product of high quality. At that moment, Lin Miaomiao wanted to scrape off a layer of wall paint and bring it back to someone to study and see if they could make something with the same effect. However, when she scraped it off, she discovered that it wasn't paint at all, but hard, slightly rough white stone. It's actually stone, and there's absolutely no cracks on such a large wall. It's truly miraculous, Lin Miaomiao exclaimed. She had never seen stone like it before. Stone like this must be quite valuable, right? Lin Miaomiao was on the main chat room, and Luo Cheng overheard her mumbling, asking, "What's going on? What are you talking about, little cook?" This was quite interesting, so Lin Miaomiao answered honestly. Then the chat room erupted in excitement. It turned out that the other rooms all had the same style as the main hall, but this one had a completely different style. Could there be some secret here? Some team members also thought the stone was a good idea. They could dig it up and bring it back to the base to build 2 swimming pools, making it easier to clean and looking fresh and clean. The unreliable suggestion was unexpectedly supported by most people. Luo Cheng was so amused that he could only frown and shout loudly, "Okay, stop talking nonsense. The underground palace must be kept as intact as possible. It may become a tourist attraction in the future. That will only be possible after the iron and energy mines are mined out," Lin Miaomiao complained. With so much time, the people sent by the Federation to repair the underground palace will definitely be able to make it look like other rooms. This sounded reasonable, and Luo Cheng almost agreed. However, he woke up at the last moment and said stiffly, "No, Zi just went in, and he must know what it looks like inside. Things in the ancient building can be taken, but the house cannot be destroyed at will. Unless it is destroyed for self-rescue when there is a risk of life, no one will be held accountable. However, this reason cannot be justified by empty words, and the surveillance video in the mecha must be submitted to the military for verification. As of now, the room is intact, and the dangerous 3-headed bird has been stopped by several level 6 mechas. If they try to destroy the ancient building again, Xingyu will definitely not give up this good opportunity to complain. He has been squeezed by Shen Yu's people these days, and he will not let go of the opportunity for revenge." Lin Miaomiao didn't want to do the stupid thing of digging the wall and taking it away. After hearing such a statement, she despised those who wanted to come and dent the wall without hesitation. "You didn't even let go of the wall, and took it back to make 2 swimming pools. You really have the spirit of hard work and thrift. But I think that since you want to save money, there is no need to build a swimming pool. We can swim when summer comes," someone argued weakly. "It's a good sport to exercise the body, haha." Lin Miaomiao laughed meaninglessly. In fact, the lake in the base is quite large, and winter swimming is more conducive to exercise the body. The despised person disappeared, but Luo Cheng asked Lin Miaomiao what he had gained. The answer was naturally nothing. "It's so poor here. There's nothing but stone tables and stone benches." Lin Miaomiao sighed as she walked into the inner room. Then her eyes widened. "Have I gotten rich?" Chapter 462, Gold and Jada's Bed. In contrast to the outer chamber's austerity, the inner chamber exuded a nouveau-riche atmosphere. The walls and floors remain white, but the wardrobe, bedside tables, and dresser were all made of gold, adorned with various phoenix reliefs and embellished with pearls and jade. Even the bed, made of gold and a single block of translucent green jade, looked to be at least 3 meters wide and 5 meters long. If that were all, it would be fine. After all, gold was cheap these days, but right in the center of the bed was a mountain of jewelry: fist-sized pearls, agate bracelets, emerald jade pendants, diamond necklaces, diamond rings, diamond earrings, bracelets, and everything in between. Even gold hairpins and hairpins from ancient Earth were present. Lin Miaomiao hesitated for a moment, then decisively let fork stow everything away in the space button on its neck. Xingyu probably hadn't had time to enter the inner chamber yet, so she'd better give these things to Shen Yu to exchange for military funds. They expected to recruit quite a few new soldiers this year, so they needed to buy more training equipment. As the captain's fiancée, she was actually quite qualified. She hadn't even prepared a secret collection of beautiful jewelry. Lin Miaomiao gave herself a thumbs up, then drooled over the large pearl that hadn't been put away on the bed yet. Otherwise, she might as well keep one of the pearls as a souvenir. And that jade pendant with dragon and phoenix carvings was quite beautiful. If she took it to a jewelry store and cut it into 2 pieces, wouldn't it be a beautiful couple's jade pendant? After much hesitation, Lin Miaomiao finally reached out for the large pearl in the dragon and phoenix pendant. She had risked her life to sneak in. If she were discovered by the 3-headed bird, it would be no fun. There were so many jewelry here, so taking 2 pieces wouldn't be a big deal. A few minutes later, the glittering inner room became as plain and elegant as the outer room, and it was still empty, looking very eerie. After all, there were stone beds everywhere else, but not here. Anyone who saw it would think something was wrong. Before she could come up with any solution, Luo Cheng came in. He called Lin Miaomiao on the main channel for a long time, but there was no response. She was alone in there with Chang Qing and Chazi, afraid that if something happened, no one would know. Luo Cheng breathed a sigh of relief when he came in and saw Lin Miaomiao standing in the empty inner room. "Little cook, you are really scary. I called you for a long time but you didn't say anything." Lin Miaomiao came back to his senses. "I didn't hear you, I was just thinking about something." "What? There's no bed here?" Lin Miaomiao pouted unhappily. "Will Mr. Z find it strange?" "What's strange about not having a bed?" Luo Cheng answered nonchalantly, and then he thought of something. "What you meant just now is that there was a bed here originally, right?" "Yes, this is the back hall. It looks like a place where people live. There must be a bed." Lin Miaomiao answered as a matter of course. "You have seen the stone bed in the main hall." Luo Cheng almost collapsed. "You are kidding? You don't even let go of the stone bed. Could it be that you are not used to sleeping on a Simmons mattress, but prefer a hard bed like this?" "No, the beds here aren't made of stone," Lin Miaomiao said mysteriously, switching to the loudspeaker. "That bed just now had gold edging and a jasper base. It's very valuable." Hiss! A sudden burst of loud gasps echoed across the main channel. "Even now, jade is highly sought after. How huge would a jade bed have to be? Even if the jade wasn't particularly high quality, such a large piece of jade would still be quite valuable." After revealing the news, Lin Miaomiao remembered to ask everyone about their finds, but everyone was silent, as if the mouth of a gourd had been sawed off. They didn't dare to show off their meager haul. "No, we have to search further to see if there's any secret passage or something." Bai Jin gritted her teeth. The supernatural beings from 1,000 years ago seemed quite wealthy. "There must be other valuables we haven't found." "That's right," everyone agreed. Shen Yu and the others were busy again, preparing to recheck every area they had already searched several times, making sure not to miss any potential treasures. Lin Miaomiao didn't look any further. The presence of so many things in the inner room suggested the previous owner had nowhere to hide their treasures. Otherwise, why would they have placed them on the bed? Of course, it's also possible that the jewelry had originally been on the dressing table, but the 3-headed bird thought it looked pretty and placed it on the bed to admire. After carefully inspecting both the inner and outer rooms and confirming that all the valuables had been taken by the fork, Lin Miaomiao unceremoniously asked it to return the space button and prepare to see today's harvest. Fork took the space button but did not return it to her immediately. Instead, he looked at her with eager eyes. "Where's my apple?" Lin Miaomiao was stunned. "Didn't I give it to you during the break just now? Don't play dumb. Isn't that the lunch you prepared for your pet?" Fork was very unhappy. "What I want now is a reward, a bag of apples." "You can't be so shameless, pet." Lin Miaomiao opened her mouth wide. When did she raise a pet? How come she didn't even notice it? Did you make a mistake, Fork? How could I make a mistake? Fork said righteously. I was caught by you just now. I was moved and surrendered, and then you took the initiative to hold me in your hands. Of course I am your pet. No, I don't have time to raise you, and I can't afford to raise you. Lin Miaomiao was depressed. She just felt that the strange vine in her hand weakened her strength, and she didn't want someone else to be like her, so she grabbed it in her hand. In fact, it was to prevent it from escaping, but how did it become a pet? Fork screamed when he heard that. What? You want to be irresponsible? If everyone hadn't seen Fork before and knew that it was a mutant parrot with a bad mouth, they would have thought of it the wrong way. But even so, the teammates who heard this couldn't help but tease. Little cook, why are you so angry about that parrot? It's actually screaming for you to take responsibility. It's only a level 6 alien beast, and it's still a long way from transforming. You mustn't mess around. What are you talking about? Lin Miaomiao said angrily. What can I do to a broken parrot? It's obviously trying to force itself on me as a pet. No way, it's blind, and it actually wants to be your pet. Liu Kao's doubt came out of her mouth, and it was reasonable. You are always threatening it. There is no reason for it to be interested in you as its owner. Lin Miaomiao sneered. This broken parrot didn't like her at all. It was actually interested in the bag of big apples it had just eaten. The way it ate at lunch was as if it had never eaten apples before. Well, she had to admit, there weren't any fruit trees on the Energy Star, and even if there were, they wouldn't be very tasty. Big, red, sweet apples naturally appealed to it, so it wasn't impossible for it to stubbornly cling to its owner. However, a gluttonous, greedy mutant parrot wasn't cute at all. If she wanted a pet, she'd rather have a cute cat. Chapter 463 The Big Black Egg in the Wall. Lin Miaomiao refused to admit she had a pet with a bad mouth, but Fork was incredibly persistent. He flew around with his space button and refused to return it until she acknowledged it. The level 5 flying beast was incredibly fast, and much smaller than Aoksu, so it flew for a long time without being caught up. However, Aoksu, flying so fast and in the limited space, couldn't stop in time and crashed into the wall. Although there was a seatbelt, a few collisions would still make the driver dizzy. After 4 or 5 consecutive collisions, Lin Miaomiao gave up and shouted, Fork, if you mess up again, I'll call for help and then kill you for bird hotpot. Fork yelled angrily, bad guy, you're using me and want to silence me now? I won't let you succeed. Don't forget, the foul-mouthed mutant parrot was so preoccupied with his verbal pleasure that he didn't notice the dog-legged vines reaching out towards him, binding him tightly. Let me go. Changqing, you traitor. How dare you help humans? Fork screamed. Changqing said tenderly, I'm an alien plant, not an alien beast. I'm not even the same species as you. The word traitor isn't quite right. Besides, you're clearly trying to force yourself onto someone else's pet. Fork couldn't argue, so he could only grumble, you'd better hope your strength always surpasses mine, otherwise. Changqing ignored the threat of the weaker one. He simply spun a thin vine and snatched the space button from Fork's neck, presenting it to Aoksu in a flattering manner. Lin Miaomiao opened the hatch and took it. Just as she was about to close it, she remembered how battered she had been earlier and felt indignant. Fork, you're really fast. You didn't even hide a wall once. Do you want to experience that? Fork was horrified. Just as he was about to beg for mercy, he realized he had already soared into the air and was heading towards the nearby wall. It was Changqing, the lackey, who had taken the initiative. My life is over, Fork screamed shrilly. Changqing, you rotten vine. Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go. Become a ghost? Lin Miaomiao's mouth twitched. Could it be that strange beasts can become ghosts? And is servile Changqing. She just wanted to scare Fork, but she didn't expect him to be so strong. She just hoped he wouldn't throw too hard. That parrot beak may be mean, but it's not bad. With a bang, Fork hit the wall separating the inner and outer rooms. Then, with a loud bang, the wall collapsed. Lin Miaomiao and the other two were stunned. The wall was so flimsy. It looked thick, but it was over a meter wide. The three-headed bird, besieged outside and in a state of panic, stopped fighting at the sound and rushed madly towards the door. Yi Hongwan and the others hurriedly followed it in. Tisk, the three-headed bird screamed a few times and rushed directly towards the collapsed wall. Lin Miaomiao was standing in the middle and was blown to the side by its wings. Be careful, Yi Hongwan's heart instantly lifted up, and he ran towards Aoksu with all his strength, trying to block the next wave of attacks from the three-headed bird. The three-headed bird had no intention of continuing to attack. Instead, it threw away the fork that was still lying on the ruins and frantically used its wings and claws to scratch at the rubble, as if looking for something. Seeing its anxious look, everyone was puzzled. What's going on? Did this bird hide something important in the wall? Lin Miaomiao, who had just recovered from the shock, asked Changqing, who ran back, do you know what it is looking for? Could it be that there was an incredible treasure in the wall that she missed? Changqing had no idea, but the dazed fork opened its mouth and said, she's looking for her brother. Looking for her brother? In the wall. Lin Miaomiao's eyes widened. No wonder the wall is so wide. There must be something else going on. Not long after, The three-headed bird dug out a large black egg half a man's height from the rubble. It wrapped it tightly with its wings and stared at Yi Hongwen and the others with hatred. Fork also climbed up from the ground, flapped its wings, and flew to Aoxa's shoulder. After being taught a lesson, it was obviously much more obedient. In fact, it had realized that its situation was not much better than the three-headed birds. This group of people came to clean up the strange beasts here. If it didn't perform well, it would probably end up like the other strange beasts. Why did the bird put its younger brother inside the wall? Was it afraid that we would find it? And she is so big now, why is her younger brother still in the egg? Lin Miaomiao was almost asking 100,000 questions. Could there be another pair of three-headed birds here? No, Fork said solemnly. The three-headed bird has the blood of ancient mythical beasts. This bird and its younger brother are twins, but its parents were hunted by natural enemies and seriously injured. They were unable to hatch two children, so they chose it with stronger vitality than this egg could be. The vitality is almost extinct. If it hadn't been supplying energy into the egg all the time, it would have been useless long ago, Fork sighed. In fact, with its ability, it could have hatched its younger brother. Unfortunately, its parents passed away a long time ago, and the way the three-headed bird incubates eggs is a bit special. It requires a male and a female bird together. Lin Miaomiao suddenly remembered something. I don't know if the three-headed bird on the primitive star is male or female. Tisk, tisk. The three-headed bird suddenly looked up and called at her a few times, as if asking something. It's asking if the three-headed bird is bigger or smaller than it, Fork translated. It's actually pretty easy to tell the difference between male and female three-headed birds. Those over 10 meters are male, and those around 8 meters are female. Lin Miaomiao hadn't seen one herself, so she turned to look at Yi Hongwen and the others. Liu Yifei then spoke. It's a circle larger than it, but its flame is just a normal flame, not black. The three-headed bird became excited at this and chirped several times. Although the others couldn't understand it, they could guess what it meant. It wanted to know the whereabouts of the male bird. As expected, Fork translated, "Where's the male three-headed bird? Please tell me the exact location," Liu Yifei said coldly. "It's useless to know. They're not on the same planet, and they're quite far away. You can't get there anyway." The three-headed bird was stunned. It looked at the black egg in its hand, then at the iron objects it had just fought, and spoke again. It knows there's a hidden treasure room in this underground palace, and it wants to use this to make a deal with you. If you send it to the planet of the male bird, it will tell you how to get in. Xinyu, who had been hiding in the back for a long time, finally couldn't help but jumped out. "What kind of deal? Are you too idle? You can just kill the bird instead of wasting time talking to it. The underground palace is so small, if you spend more time, you won't be able to find it." The three-headed bird holding the bird's egg already had a big weakness. If you don't take this opportunity to kill it, you are a bunch of fools to negotiate a deal with it. Chapter 464, Deal Done. Lin Miaomiao frowned. Did Z, with his mech pod burned through, just hide behind the scene in command? Did he see how they, after besieging a level 7 alien beast, hadn't gotten away with it? While the three-headed bird looked a bit disheveled, she felt the level 6 mech masters were in even greater distress. Li Enho's mech's right arm had been burned to a lump of iron by the black fire, and several parts of Yao Hong's mech pod had melted. Even He Lian's ears were reduced to tiny dots. Being beaten like this out of a 6-on-1 situation, this level 7 three-headed bird was quite formidable. However, she had to admit, the three-headed bird was clearly concerned about the lifeless black egg in its arms. If they besieged it now, they might even find a chance to destroy it. The only problem was, if they failed to kill it and instead shattered the egg it was holding, the three-headed bird would likely go berserk. A rank 7 beast going berserk was no small matter, especially since the three-headed bird's abilities were so unique. If they accidentally destroyed the underground palace, they would all be buried with the egg. Besides, she was very interested in the treasure room. The items on the bed might have come from there. She pondered this, but she didn't speak. Such matters were hers to decide. The final decision would depend on the two captains' discussion. It didn't take long for Yi Hongwen and the others to reach a consensus. Gu Qingheng gently but firmly refused. "The rank 7 beast's combat power is too formidable, and your abilities are even greater than those of ordinary three-headed birds. For the safety of the crew, we cannot take you aboard." The rejected three-headed bird glanced down at the large black egg in its arms. Then, looking up again, its eyes filled with determination, As if it had made a fateful decision, it barked at Fork several times. Forkbird's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. No way, what did it say? Liu Kaoyer was curious. With such a resolute look in its eyes, was it planning to perish with them? PFFT, 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 what was she thinking? Bad things don't work, but good things do. The three-headed bird called out twice more, and Forkbird sighed in a humane way. Translating, it said it can use up all its superpowers before boarding the ship, and then you can just lock it up in a room. When superpowers are depleted, the bodies of alien beasts become extremely weak, unable to recover for a long time. At this point, they are extremely vulnerable. The three-headed bird is essentially entrusting its life to the hands of humans who hate alien beasts. Hearing this, the Shenyu team members fell silent. For their little brother, who was uncertain whether he would hatch, the three-headed bird had truly fought tooth and nail. Such kinship softened their hearts. By comparison, their actions, those who had entered the energy planet and slaughtered alien beasts wantonly for their own selfish gain, seemed rather pathetic. Okay, that's acceptable. Zimyu was the only one who thought this was a good idea. Of course, he wasn't really willing to help the three-headed bird, because after agreeing, he said in the temporary chat, once we get the address of the treasure room, we'll kill that stupid bird. Lin Miaomiao almost burst out cursing. How on earth did someone with such low character get the position of team leader? Fortunately, she didn't lose her mind. She forced herself to swallow the words that were about to come to her mouth and thought about how to help the three-headed bird. Then she remembered who Zhi. After the old fox's identity was exposed, he changed his contact number. For some reason, he gave her the new number. She heard that the three-headed bird on the original star had once rescued a little white fox. It was likely that they knew who Zhi. If she told them about the bird, she didn't know if they would come to pick it up. After thinking for a while, Lin Miaomiao pulled up the surveillance video and captured a short video. She sent it directly to Hu Zhi's new contact number to see how he would react. Surprisingly, not long after the video was sent, Hu Zhi urgently video messaged her, "Save the bird." Behind him, a giant three-headed bird attempted to steal the screen. It wants to go to your place to find the hatched brother behind you, but our fleet isn't familiar with it. To ensure the safety of the team members, the captain declined its trade request. Lin Miaomiao said slowly. Don't you have a spaceship? Do you want to come and pick up the bird? Squeak, squeak. The three-headed bird behind Hu Zhi cried loudly, still unwilling to give up, its head leaning towards the screen. Go away, she doesn't understand what you said. Hu Zhi slapped the bird's head away, then said to the screen with a smile, of course we have to take it back. We asked you to show mercy. What if you kill the bird before we arrive? That's right. It's too easy for you to let it go. Our fleet has worked hard here for several days, and some people's mechas have been destroyed by it. The old fox was also a rich man. Although the Hu family declared bankruptcy after their identity was exposed, she always felt that the fox still had industries elsewhere, so no matter how sympathetic she was, she had to get some benefits. Fortunately, Hu Zhi was very understanding. After hearing what she meant, he promised readily, I'll ask everyone to prepare some fresh vegetables and meat later, and bring them to you for a snack. Also, after we successfully bring them back, someone will donate some training equipment, military expenses and the like to your fleet. Lin Miaomiao nodded with satisfaction. She didn't ask about the specific amount of the donation, as doing so would make her seem profit-driven. However, there was one thing she needed to confirm again. Big Fox, you won't attack humans, right? Hu Zhi was stunned, then smiled and promised, I like my current life. As long as no one comes to disturb our lives, I won't attack humans. There was a clause before the promise, but Lin Miaomiao felt that this was more true, so she said readily, then you should set off early. There are still people here who don't get along with our captain. If he can't help but do something, we won't be able to do anything. Yi Hongwen and Gu Qingheng could no longer refuse the decision made by the three-headed bird, but Zimu's words made them a little hesitant. What if Zi attacked the three-headed bird when it was weak? They could bring it on board, but it would be difficult to break up and stop the assessment team from taking action. Lin Miaomiao and Hu Zhi's agreement made them less hesitant, so they agreed to the three-headed bird's request without having to use up all their superpowers. Gu Qingheng did not tell the three-headed bird about Hu Zhi, but only told the three-headed bird, our mission is not yet completed. and we will not be returning for the time being, so you have to wait a few days before you can set off, and it is not our fleet that will send you back." The three-headed bird was very alert. "Then can you guarantee the safety of me and my brother?" "Yes." Gu Qingheng was very sure of this. "They will definitely not hurt you." "Then I will tell you the location of the treasure room now," the three-headed bird said very straightforwardly. Chapter 465, Violent Thunder Python. Perhaps it was because the three-headed bird was so naive, it hadn't even seen the spaceship that brought it, yet it revealed the treasure room's location. Surprisingly, it wasn't in the underground palace, but in a pool beneath a cliff. Down there, Liu Yifei nearly burst into tears upon learning the truth. He had clearly gone down, only to miss the treasure room. He said to Luo Chang in grief, "Brother, we missed out on billions." "Shut up," Luo Chang lamented. "Hearing your voice always reminds me of those unpleasant memories. It's such bad luck to be on this mission with you. I had the chance to embezzle the money, but I just didn't see it." Gu Qingheng wiped the sweat from his forehead, ignoring the two men's grief. He asked Yi Hongwen's opinion. "Should we leave the underground palace now and search for the treasure room? Meng Jie should have finished cleaning the front hall. If they didn't act quickly, there would be more people to share the treasure with after they met. So, he suggested that they go treasure hunting now." Yi Hongwen asked calmly, "Have you searched the other rooms?" "Captain, the search is complete," someone reported seriously. "Then let's go," Yi Hongwen said, and took the lead to walk forward, preparing to return the same way. At this moment, Liu Jin's video message came. Yi Hongwen wanted to reject it, but he was afraid that it was something important, so he could only click to accept it. Then a big clown with tear marks appeared in front of him. "Brother Yi, help me." Yi Hongwen frowned and said with disgust, "Please call me Captain Yi. Saving people is important." Liu Jin was very anxious. "My father is in trouble. Please come and save my father. Please, for the sake of us being federal soldiers." "What happened?" Yi Hongwen interrupted her. "Explain what happened clearly," Liu Jin said angrily. "Saving people is like putting out a fire. Captain Yi, can't you come and save people first?" "Your location." Yi Hongwen was too lazy to say anything else to her. This idiot woman didn't even know the key point when asking for help. The treasure room was temporarily out of reach, so the group had no choice but to rush to the front hall to rescue the people. Upon entering the front hall, everyone gasped. The place was littered with the corpses of exotic beasts, leaving them with nowhere to step. Judging by the number, it was 3 or 4 times the number they had just killed. "Don't they know how to clean up the battlefield? So many corpses, it's really affecting our performance," Liu Yifei complained. Whoosh, a gray figure rushed out from behind, running along the ground. Wherever it passed, the corpses of exotic beasts disappeared. 13 is so handsome," Liu Kaoyer exclaimed. The cleaning was so fast. "Now we have a place to stay," everyone frowned. "Is it really okay for 13 to do this? This is a blatant robbery of other people's spoils." After several loud bangs, Yi Hongwen finally understood why Meng Jie's men were in such a miserable state. There were actually 3 7th-level beasts here. 2 of them were the Thunder Python and Blue Fire Wolf Chang Qing had mentioned, and the remaining one was a large black scorpion. "It's an amethyst scorpion," Gu Qingheng whispered. "It has a purple crystal on its tail." Meng Jie was a large fleet, with hundreds of 6th-level mecha operators alone. They had brought over 30 on this mission, so they shouldn't be in such a precarious situation. Yet, those 6th-level mecha operators were being toyed with by 3 7th-level beasts. What was going on? Mecha operators below level 6 were nothing more than serving as a foil to 7th-level beasts, so those below level 6 instinctively fought those lower-level beasts. Yi Hongwen and his men joined the fight against the 7th-level beasts. As soon as he joined the battle with the Thunder Python, Yo Hong cursed, "Oh my god! What the hell is going on? It's actually going berserk. How can we fight it?" The mutated python lost all its sanity after going berserk. Purple lightning kept flashing on its 100-meter-long body, looking very cool. Its long snake tail kept swinging, occasionally sweeping over the mecha masters who were fighting with ordinary monsters, and knocking the monsters and mechas away together. Black Lotus nimbly dodged the python's tail and used its ultimate move, then jumped onto its head and grabbed the 2 long horns on its head. "Is this snake transforming into a dragon?" Transforming into a dragon. Everyone stared at the giant python's head, and only then discovered that it had 2 purple tree fork-shaped horns on its head, as thick as a baby's arm. They were immediately amazed. "I heard that after a giant python has cultivated to a certain level, It will transform into a dragon. I've never seen it before. I must take a picture as a souvenir. When encountering magical things, some people actually risk their lives to rush over to take pictures with a giant python. They stood in front of the giant python, taking pictures and shouting, "Boss, you have to hold on to its horns tightly. Don't let it break free so quickly. I want to take a few more pictures." "Get out," Yi Hongwen said 2 words coldly. "I just want to take a picture with it, boss. Don't be so unkind." "Liu Yifei, do you have any shame?" Lin Miaomiao complained for her boyfriend who was too busy. "It's already so late, and you're still thinking about taking pictures." Although she said that, Lin Miaomiao didn't really think so. If Chang Qing and Chazi hadn't been lying on Aoxo and refused to move, she would have rushed over long ago. Just as she was thinking about where to put the 2 birds so they wouldn't be killed, a vine-woven bag suddenly appeared in front of her, with a big black egg inside. What's going on? Lin Miaomiao was confused. Could it be that the sister didn't want her brother anymore and gave her the egg to eat? Well, that was obviously impossible. The 3-headed bird really treasured the egg. The reason it gave the egg to her was that the 3-headed bird wanted to go into the battlefield to help fight the monsters. It was too dangerous to carry the egg with it, so it left its precious brother with her. After hearing the fork's explanation, Lin Miaomiao burst into tears. When had she become the place where strange beasts and plants were kept? Even the silent eggs were placed with her. It was simply too much. But the 3-headed bird was going to help her boyfriend fight with his teammates, so she couldn't refuse. She had no choice but to accept it. However, the big black egg was different from the 2 thick-skinned ones. Aoxo had strong hands, and she was afraid that she would accidentally crush it in her hands. After thinking it over, she finally pulled a piece of vine from Changqing, tied the bag tightly, and hung it around her neck. Changqing cried bitterly, "Why is it always me who gets hurt?" The vines used to make the bag were also pulled from Changqing. It was inconvenient for the 3-headed bird to take her brother with her when she went out, but she was worried about leaving him alone in the underground palace. So every time she went out, she pulled a few pieces of vines at the door to make a big bag, and put her brother in the bag to carry with her. Lin Miaomiao said to it with a dull face, "Don't be sad. It's not good for the vine to be too long. It needs to absorb more nutrients. Shorter ones are easier to grow. Speaking of which, there are so many things you can do with such a strong vine. Should you go back and weave a few sections to make a rattan chair?" A sudden chill suddenly surged in Chang Qing's heart, and all the vines felt bad. Why did it feel like something was going to happen? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466, Panic and Evil Thoughts. With a large black egg dangling from his neck, his right leg resting on the large bathtub where the strange vines were temporarily residing, and his left hand clutching the mutant parrot trying to climb onto his head, Aoxo's intelligence began to heat up. Such a bizarre appearance. "I can't believe this is me," Aoxo choked out. "If I had known, I would have agreed to trade with Handong today." He'd left the house this morning with only a broken vine. While it was a bit of a hassle, the image was still acceptable. Later, he'd caught a mean-mouthed parrot that kept trying to climb onto his head, and he'd put up with it. But what about that egg around his neck now? "Master," Aoxo said bitterly, "you've made me look like this. What if Black Lotus dislikes me?" "It's okay," Lin Miaomiao said calmly. "It's been disliked by you for a while now. You can't catch it now, so why not change your appearance? It'll make a better impression on it. Who knows, it might like a more down-to-earth mecha." "Really?" Aoxo was skeptical. After so many rejections, he was eager to try anything he heard. As the owner said, its current shape is more down-to-earth and doesn't look very good, but what if Black Lotus is blind and likes this? Having successfully fooled Aoxo, Lin Miaomiao huddled in a corner to continue watching the battle. She noticed that something seemed to have happened to someone in Mangjia. In the opposite corner, many mechas surrounded a level 6 mecha. A woman trembled as she opened the hatch and touched the cockpit of the level 6 mecha, trying to use her mental power to control the level 6 mecha to open the door, but the door kept closing halfway. "Liu Zai, calm down." Zhuang Wenming also opened the hatch and whispered to comfort him, "Concentrate your mental strength. The sooner you open the hatch, the sooner you can rescue the captain." "But I'm so scared," I can't concentrate. Liu's eyes face was red and white, no longer as beautiful as before. What should I do if something happens to my father? How can I have the confidence to chase Yi Hongwen? Zhuang Wenming was furious. He was still thinking about himself at this time. The captain was a smart and steady man, but he raised a selfish and stupid daughter. For his daughter, he was branded as a man who couldn't distinguish between public and private. But at the critical moment, his daughter, who had the emergency authority to open the door, only thought about her own gains and losses, and couldn't concentrate on opening his hatch to save him. After several unsuccessful attempts, Zhuang Wenming grew furious and shouted, "Anyone who knows how to pry open the mech hatch? Come and help." Many mech technicians learn basic mech repair skills to avoid the awkward situation of being stranded without help. This is especially true of prying open a mech hatch, and most male mech technicians have at least some experience. So, as soon as Zhuang Wenming spoke, several members of Meng Jia's team rushed over. Someone came to pry open the hatch, and Liu Jin, unable to do anything, was shoved aside. She was devastated and her mind was in turmoil. Her current position was thanks to her father, who was seriously injured. She wanted to rescue him quickly, but she couldn't concentrate enough to communicate with her father's mech intelligence. What should she do? A dazed glance at the familiar silver-white mech in the opposite corner suddenly struck Liu Jin. Yi Hongwen was battling a level 7 alien beast, and that man was alone in the corner with the alien beast implant. If anything happened, no one would be able to save her in the chaos. If something happened to that person, and Yi Hongwen became single again, would she still have a chance? With this thought in mind, Liu Zai forgot about her father, who was still trying to pry open the mecha to rescue him. She closed the hatch and headed towards the chaotic area. She selected a 5th-level mutant giant snake and attacked it vigorously. After the giant snake locked its attention on her, she turned and ran to the corner where the silver-white mecha was. Lin Miaomiao, who was watching the excitement, had a bad feeling when she saw Liu's eye flying towards her, especially when she saw the armored giant snake following behind her. She couldn't help but frown. She had defeated the 5th-level monster that day because of Keek's help, but today everyone was entangled by the monster, and Aoxu still had a fragile egg hanging around her neck. Lin Miaomiao's premonition was quickly realized. Liu Jin rushed to her side and yelled, "Get out of the way. I can't beat it," glancing at the strange vines at her feet, then at the parrot in her hand and the egg on its neck. Lin Miaomiao sneered, "That only works if I can dodge." She was definitely in no condition to fight the armored snake, so she threw the fork in her hand at the armored snake. "Hurry up and help me fight. If you perform well, I'll find you a good place." Taking it home to raise would definitely not work. The mean-mouthed parrot was too prone to causing trouble. Besides, taking a strange beast as a pet required a series of identifications to confirm that it was harmless and had not yet awakened its spiritual intelligence. Only a 1st or 2nd level strange beast had to go through a series of inspections. The fork clearly didn't meet the requirements. However, when Hu Zhi came to pick up the 3-headed snake, she could give him the fork as a gift. "Help! The bad guys are trying to kill the birds," Fork yelled, trying to attract attention. Though its fighting ability was limited, it was captivated by Lin Miaomiao's offer and reluctant to flee, so it had to find a way to avert the danger. Fortunately, Fork had a loud voice, and the people at Shenaiyu had grown accustomed to its raspy voice during their journey. Knowing it was always with a certain cook, some followed the sound and, upon discovering the mutant parrot being pursued by the armored snake, immediately drew their swords to help. "Miaomiao, what's wrong with you?" Gu Qingheng asked gravely as he fought. "Didn't I tell you to find a corner where the monster wouldn't notice?" "That's what I did," Lin Miaomiao said, feeling aggrieved. "Someone deliberately lured the monster here." "Who?" Yi Hongwen shouted in a chilling voice. Gu Qingheng, however, had already spotted the pink mech standing there. His memory was excellent, and the mech's striking color made it easy to identify its owner. Gu Qingheng's gentle voice suddenly turned 10 degrees colder. He said through the loudspeaker, "Deputy Captain Liu's father is still in a severely damaged mecha and his life is uncertain. He actually has the mood to murder our team members. He is really heartless." "You are talking nonsense," Liu Jin subconsciously denied it. "I was being chased and couldn't win, so I accidentally ran here, as a level 5 mecha master." "You were chased around by a level 5 alien beast," Gu Qingheng laughed, "then you ran in the wrong direction. Running towards a level 4 mecha master, isn't that courting death?" Liu Jin was about to argue, but Zhuang Wenming happened to organize people to rescue Liu Wan. Seeing that he was covered in blood, he immediately said, "Zixi, hurry up and get the repair cabin out." After shouting, there was no response. Then she realized that the person had run to the opposite side. The anger in her heart could no longer be suppressed. "Liu Jin, what's wrong with you? Your father is like this and you are still running around. Hurry and get the repair cabin over." Liu Jin's face turned pale instantly. Her lie was too flimsy and was easily exposed. She didn't dare to say anything else. She turned around and ran to Liu Wan in panic. She vaguely heard Lin Miaomiao say indifferently, "I have the surveillance footage of what happened just now. We can settle the score when we get back." Chapter 467. The front hall is about to collapse. After a flurry of activity, Liu Wan was finally shoved into the repair chamber. However, the front hall was still in disarray, and with nowhere to put him, Zhuang Wenming had to personally guard the repair chamber. Originally, Liu Jin was supposed to be in charge, but her previous performance had made everyone lose confidence in her. Although the remaining beasts were numerous, with the addition of Chen Yu and the assessment team, the situation was finally under control, and the crowded front hall became considerably emptier. In the end, only the Thunder Python and the Amethyst Scorpion remained, though the Amethyst Scorpion was already teetering under the siege of a dozen level 6 mecha masters. It's worth noting that the blue firewolf had been roasted by the three-headed bird. It's unknown how it had offended the three-headed bird. After entrusting its younger brother to Lin Miaomiao, the three-headed bird ignored the other beasts and instead pursued the wolf with relentless attacks, using wind arrows, water dragons, and fireballs to reduce it to a charred mess. At first, Meng Jia's men attempted to attack the three-headed bird, but Gu Qingheng restrained them. Only after the blue firewolves were completely wiped out did everyone believe the three-headed bird was truly on their side. Of course, this was only temporary. Having one less level 7 opponent was also beneficial. While it's common to say you shouldn't show mercy when encountering alien beasts, most people still believe that alien beasts are inexhaustible. Unless there's a conflict of interest, it's best not to engage high-level alien beasts, especially when you're at a disadvantage. The Federation has quite a few level 7 mecha pilots, but most of them age after reaching level 7. They either retire or are transferred from the fleet to the military as ace fighters. They train daily but rarely go on missions, unless a mission involves a large number of level 7 alien beasts. There were 4 level 7 alien beasts in the underground palace, which should have allowed the assistance of several level 7 mecha masters. However, Liu Jin, overconfident, assumed that with so many level 6 mecha masters in the fleet, they could siege and kill the beasts. She therefore privately refused the special reinforcements sent by the military. Once Liu Wan learned of this, he couldn't go back on his word. After the Amethyst Scorpion was slain, the atmosphere in the front hall finally relaxed. The injured level 6 mecha masters retreated to the sidelines, replaced by those still able to fight. Those without alien beasts began to clean up the battlefield. It was only then that Meng Jia's men realized something was amiss. Where had the alien beast carcasses that had been scattered everywhere gone? There were barely 1,000 left on the ground, and they were so bloody and mangled that they were unbearable to look at, let alone eat. Even for the inedible beasts, they had to resign themselves to collecting the bodies. The military would undoubtedly send someone to inspect the area, and seeing the bloodied corpses strewn across the ground would surely condemn them for their incompetence. As the Meng Jia team grimacely collected the dead beasts, the Thunder Python, having witnessed the destruction of its own beast army, seemed to go mad. It ignored its attacks and stopped using lightning to strike the Iron Men. Instead, it slapped the ground and ceiling with its long, thick tail. Bang, bang, a huge crash echoed through the devastated front hall. Cracks appeared in the ceiling and floor. The unaware people finally understood the Thunder Python's intentions, a suicidal plot. Kill it quickly. We can't let it destroy this place, Xingyu shouted. He had long since hidden himself within the Meng Jia encirclement, using the excuse that his mech was severely damaged. Yi Hongwan and the others understood the problem without him having to explain. Dozens of mech pilots simultaneously attacked the snake's vital points, but the Thunder Python dodged them. Its cold, massive eyes glared at the mechas surrounding it, then scanned the rest of the mechas, its tail still lashing out. As for the enemy's attacks, it didn't dodge or avoid anything that didn't strike its vital points or spine. Boom, cracks appeared in the ceiling and floor, widening under the relentless thrashing of the snake's massive tail. The front hall trembled, threatening to collapse. Ah, Liu's eye screamed, and the pink mech rushed out of the repair bay, frantically running for the exit. Zhuang Wenming shouted, "Liu Zai, what are you doing? Stop right there. No, I'm not going to stand here and die. I want to go back. This place is not good at all." Liu Zai kept walking. She forgot about her father in the repair bay, her teammates fighting alongside her, and Yi Hongwen, whom she had tried so hard to woo. She just wanted to survive. With Liu Jin leading the charge, some of the group began to buckle. Dozens of Meng Jia's men began to rush into the passage they had come from. Seeing this, Xu Yu followed without hesitation, saying nothing before leaving, completely forgetting his role as leader. "Captain," Gu Qinghang shouted over the main channel, "the front hall is in danger. We can't stay here any longer." Yi Hongwen, still concentrating his mental power on attacking the Thunder Serpent, glanced up at the ceiling, which was about to collapse, then at the passage Zimu and the others had left. He decisively declared, "Lead everyone to retreat to the rear hall. Avoid the front passage." The front wall was already in danger, and the passageway was also affected. With so many people here, no matter how large the passageway was, they couldn't retreat. It was better to retreat to the rear hall first. Not only them, but Zhuang Wenming of Mengjia had made the same decision. He had already had Liu Wan's repair cabin carried to the rear hall, but he himself remained. With the captain injured and unable to lead, it was his responsibility to organize an orderly retreat to safety. Lin Miaomiao didn't want to leave first, as Yi Hongwen was still battling the Thunder Serpent. But Gu Qinghang was right, she was only a level 4 mecha pilot, and even if she stayed, she would only be a hindrance and a hindrance. So, she obediently left with Fork and Chang Qing, the urge to become stronger rising within her once again. "I don't expect to surpass you, I just hope to be able to fight alongside you again in a situation like this," Lin Miaomiao muttered to herself. Those who feared death fled first, while those who remained calmly followed orders and retreated in an orderly manner towards the rear hall. Soon, only a dozen or so level 6 mecha pilots remained attacking the Thunder Serpent. Stones of all sizes began to fall from the ceiling. Seeing this, Yi Hongwen coldly called out through the loudspeaker, "You leave too. I'll stay and hold it back. We can't let it follow to the main hall." The underground palace was indeed sturdy, but it couldn't withstand the fierce attacks of a level 7 alien beast. If the front hall couldn't be saved, the main hall would also be affected. The rear hall couldn't be harmed, or everyone here would be doomed. They were all soldiers, and even though Yi Hongwen wasn't their superior, at this point they had no choice but to follow orders. One by one, they retreated, until only Li Yanhe remained. The Thunder Serpent had noticed its numbers dwindling, and slapped the ground unwillingly, abandoning the remaining two and chasing after it towards the main hall. Yi and Li would not let it happen. With swords raised, they leaped onto the serpent's back and slashed at its spine. Chapter 468 Trapped. Focused on the escaping Iron Men, the Thunder Python ignored the deadly power of the two behind it. After being pierced through the spine, its massive body froze instantly, and it fell heavily to the ground. The already unstable front wall could no longer support itself, and huge clods of earth continued to fall. "Go!" Yi Hongwen shouted coldly, dodging the boulders overhead and rushing towards the main hall. Li Yanhe was a step too slow, and before he could react, he was pinned to the ground by a huge clod of earth. He tried to struggle, but the clod was too large to lift. Yi Hongwen, almost entering the main hall, returned and helped him lift the clod. The clods of earth were falling at an increasing rate, and Li Yanhe, giving up hope, shouted towards Black Lotus, "Go quickly, leave me alone." Yi Hongwen didn't reply. The clod of earth was too large to lift, so he simply raised his sword and slashed it directly at the spot where Li Yanhe was pinned. Li Yanhe was stunned. Could this be a sign of a fight? Fortunately, the giant sword hit the mech and stopped, then Black Lotus pushed aside half a block of earth, pulling the frozen mech free and escaping. After all, he was a level 6 mech master, so Li Yanhe no longer needed help after escaping. He dodged left and right, followed Yi Hongwen into the main hall, and was thus out of danger. It must be said that this underground palace was built very solidly. Even after thousands of years, even after being maliciously damaged by a level 7 alien beast, the nearby main hall was not greatly affected. Only the corridors became uneven and precarious. There was so much commotion in the front hall that Gu Qinghang and Zhuang Wenming, who had already retreated, ran from the back hall to investigate. They were overjoyed to see the two return. After years of grappling, even though they were now showing signs of reconciliation, they still grumbled, "Captain, you're back alive. I thought the burden of Shen Yu would fall on me from now on. Yi Hongwen curled his lips and said indifferently, "You're overthinking it." With that, the two of them ignored each other. The four mechas silently flew towards the rear hall. With a commotion still raging in the front hall, it was still dangerous to stay in the main hall. As soon as they entered the rear hall, He Lian was tackled by Aoksu. The loud crash of the mech's fall startled the others, and then a burst of laughter ensued. After surviving a disaster, they should laugh. The commotion in the front hall continued unabated. The rooms in the rear hall were so packed with mechas that there was no room to turn around. Gu Qingheng, Zhuang Wenming, and Lian Hu discussed the matter in the hallway for a long time and decided to let everyone disembark and rest while they took a head count. Just before the front hall collapsed, many people ran for the exit. They had to confirm how many mecha pilots had left. Walking around without instructions was punishable by military regulations. After the count came in, Zhuang Wenming and Lian Hu's faces darkened. Meng Jie had brought 1,000 members this time, including the captain and deputy captain, a total of 1,003 people. Now, only 945 remained, one of whom was missing the deputy captain. 7 of the 8 members of the assessment team remained, but the team leader, Xing Yu, had run away. Only Shen Yu didn't embarrass herself too much, with only one member running away. So Gu Qingheng remained calm and still had the mood to care. It was already dinner time. There were 5 suites in the back hall. Since they couldn't leave the underground palace for the time being, after counting the number of people, the 3 of them reallocated the rooms. Shen Yu occupied the largest one in the middle. The assessment team was small, and since they were used to working with Shen Yu, they simply stayed in the same room. Zhuang Wenming and Gu Qingheng exchanged a few pleasantries before hurriedly leaving. Liu Wan was still lying in the repair cabin, and Liu Zai had escaped again. Meng Jia's matter now fell on his shoulders. He still had to go back to see how many people were injured. Without a military doctor, it was difficult to determine how to treat them. The more frustrating thing was yet to come. As soon as Zhuang Wenming stepped into the room where Liu Wan's repair cabin was kept, several team leaders gathered around him and complained, "There are too many wounded, and there aren't enough repair cabins. Didn't we bring 20 repair cabins?" Zhuang Wenming said, puzzled. As soon as he said that, he remembered that most of those repair cabins were on Liu Zai, leaving only 4 for the team leaders. With so many wounded, there simply wasn't enough. Thinking of that selfish woman who disregarded even her own father, Zhuang Wenming slammed his fist against the thick door frame, venting his anger. He gritted his teeth and said, "Let's focus on the seriously injured crew members in the repair chamber first. The less injured can wait." Yes, several team leaders responded, but didn't leave immediately. Instead, they hesitated, saying, "Deputy Captain, what should we do next? The front hall has collapsed, and we're not sure if we can get out today." Zhuang Wenming said irritably, "Let's have dinner first, then rest and replenish our strength. We can talk about getting out after the front wall collapses. I'll go to Shen Yu first and see if they have extra repair chambers. If they have any, I'll borrow a few." Shen Yu's crew wasn't injured very often, which was why Zhuang Wenming made this suggestion. The team leaders nodded hurriedly, believing that even the lightly injured crew members needed immediate treatment. Meanwhile, the Shen Yu crew had divided into groups and gathered for a tea party. They'd been drinking nutrient solution for lunch and were looking forward to hot pot that evening, but who knew they'd end up trapped in the underground palace? To appease their cravings, the group didn't rest after dinner, but instead planned a tea party to celebrate their survival. A tea party always requires snacks, and the snack-loving female team members were in trouble. They were forced to hand over all the snacks stored in their space buttons, and even Lin Miaomiao wasn't spared. As a foodie who loves cooking, Lin Miaomiao's space button had the most snacks, including peanuts, melon seeds, biscuits, candies, and plenty of drinks and fruit. She was heartbroken to have most of her supplies stolen. Even more infuriating was that her boyfriend, Yi Hongwen, not only refused to help, but even smiled after she handed over most of the snacks. While a glacial smile is beautiful, she couldn't appreciate such a gloating smile. Zhuang Wenming rushed in and saw the scene, feeling frustrated. It seemed they were so gloomy, while they were just taking it for granted. Seeing him come in, everyone in Shen Yu started to murmur. Why did this person come back again? Could he be here to steal the food? Be on guard. Yi Hongwen was aloof and indifferent, and simply pretended that he didn't see anyone come in. Gu Qingheng had no choice but to greet him. "Deputy Captain Zhuang, have you had dinner? It's just a bottle of nutrient solution," It won't take that long. Zhuang Wenming forced a smile that was uglier than crying. What are you doing? Oh, Gu Qingheng seemed to realize that something was wrong with their condition. Everyone was frightened today. We escaped death by not being crushed in the front hall, so we wanted to celebrate. Deputy Captain Zhuang, how about we join us? Zhuang Wenming was stunned. They were still worrying about how to treat the wounded and whether they could go out tonight. These carefree people were in the mood to celebrate, but he had no right to blame them. He could only say dully, "No, I just came to ask if you have any extra repair cabins. I'd like to borrow a few." Chapter 469. Zhuang Wenming got mad. Zhuang Wenming explained his purpose expressionlessly. Gu Qingheng certainly wouldn't say no, but looked towards the inner room with some embarrassment. "Why, you don't have enough?" Zhuang Wenming was surprised. He thought that the people of Shenai were still in the mood to celebrate, so there shouldn't be many injuries. That's not the case. Most of us were slightly injured. Gu Qingheng was a little embarrassed. How should he explain that some team members finished their treatment and, seeing that there was no one waiting in line for treatment, just laid down inside and refused to come out? At this time, Yi Hongwen finally spoke. He said in a voice so cold that it could make dregs fall out of his chest, "Yifei, throw out the people sleeping in the repair cabin." Zhuang Wenming's mouth twitched. Using the repair cabin to sleep, should he say that the people of Shenai knew how to utilize resources too well? Soon, several screams emanated from the inner chamber, followed by an angry voice, "Liu Yifei, you're going to die. How dare you drag me out of this repair chamber and throw me to the ground? Tell me, do you want a one-on-one fight or a group brawl?" Liu Yifei replied with a grin, "I'm a pacifist. I'm not choosing either. It was the boss who ordered you thrown out. Hurry up, get dressed, and help carry the repair chamber out." "I'll do it myself," Zhuang Wenming replied. Although he was the second in command, he couldn't let the rest of the fleet do his bidding. He hurried into several rooms and saw a group of naked men pinning down and groping a man. Even though they'd been thrown out, couldn't they get up, get dressed, and then fight? In an interstellar age where gender isn't an issue, such a scene was truly shocking. Zhuang Wenming quickly stored the 10 repair chambers in his spaceship button and retreated with a stony expression. Passing by men and women chatting and eating sunflower seeds and fruit, his expression grew even more gloomy. He wished he could snatch all their snacks. Returning to his own territory, Zhuang Wenming was greeted by a sea of bitter faces and expectant eyes. He took a deep breath and said, "Shen Yu's repair chambers have been borrowed. Please move aside." Meng Jia and the others dispersed to make room, and Zhuang Wenming took out 10 repair chambers. The others rushed over and carried them to the inner room. No one paid any attention to him. It didn't matter if no one paid any attention to him, Zhuang Wenming thought, and then he went out again. The wounded were all concentrated in this room. He had just been paying attention to them, and hadn't even looked at the team members in the other rooms. He didn't know if they were resting. So he went out again and headed for the next door. Before he even entered, he found it quiet inside. He thought everyone was asleep, but when he walked in, he found a group of people sitting in a row, leaning against the wall, staring at the ceiling with bitter faces, playing silent. Hearing the sound of someone coming in, their eyes moved down slightly. After seeing who it was, these bitter-faced people greeted weakly, "Deputy Captain Zhuang is here, sit here." Zhuang Wenming's temper flared up, and he wanted to take out a hammer and hit these people one by one. Even if his face was full of pain, it would be more pleasing than seeing all those bitter faces. Suppressing the urge to strike, Zhuang Wenming tried to speak in a friendly tone, asking, "Why aren't you guys resting? Once the front hall stabilizes, there might not be time to rest." "I can't sleep," someone complained. "This shabby place has no stools or beds. We can only sit in the corner." "How can we sleep?" "That's right. There's not much space. We can't sleep in the mecha. Even sleeping in the mecha is more comfortable than it is now." I drank a nutritional supplement for dinner again. I haven't had one in 800 years. I've been drinking it all day today, and my mouth is tasteless. Chattering and chattering, the bitter-faced men pulled their deputy captain to talk non-stop, and the quiet room instantly turned into a complaint meeting. "Stop," Zhuang Wenming said, feeling a headache. This environment was indeed not good, but now they were trapped here, and there was no point complaining to him. Everyone should get some rest quickly. Try to overcome the discomfort, but someone else wanted to speak. "Shut up, no buts," Zhuang Wenming interrupted him bluntly. "I need to go somewhere else. If I see your faces again when I come back, I'll beat you up." He fled the room and headed towards the other two rooms. As he passed the middle room, he stared intently, covering his ears and pretending not to see the bustle inside. He consoled himself mentally, Shen Yu's people were just lucky the few were injured, so they were chatting and laughing as if nothing had happened. When they reached their third room, they heard voices from inside. Zhuang Wenming breathed a sigh of relief. It was good to be able to chat. There wouldn't be any more bitter faces greeting him. However, his relief was premature, because the discussion inside wasn't about anything interesting, but rather speculation about whether they could escape. Team member A predicted, the front hall has collapsed, and the passage must have collapsed as well. We will definitely not be able to get out tonight, team member B said worriedly. That's terrible. The underground palace is so big. What if the passage is blocked? How can we get out? Dig with a sword, dig for nothing. It will take years and months to dig through the passage. The nutrients and energy cards alone are not enough. Team member C felt like the world was coming to an end. What's the rush? Deputy Captain Liu and his group ran away, team member D said unconcernedly. They can't have escaped and not dared to tell anyone, leaving us to fend for ourselves in the underground palace, team member B said sullenly. What's impossible? If they can escape, what can't they do? Zhuang Wenming couldn't listen any longer after hearing this. Why couldn't these people talk about something positive? Why couldn't they think about the fact that the passage hadn't collapsed yet? Well, he himself had also guessed that the passage had been blocked. Everyone, shut up and get some rest, Zhuang Wenming shouted from the doorway. What nonsense are you talking about? Conserve your energy and recover your mental strength as soon as possible. A sudden hush fell inside. No one spoke again. Looking around, the people sitting against the wall had their eyes closed, pretending to be asleep. Zhuang Wenming gritted his teeth and made his way to the last room, only to find it incredibly lively. A fight had broken out inside, all because someone had just escaped, while they were still here. One angry young man felt this was unfair, and the others mocked him, saying, "You have the will but not the guts. You wanted to run but were afraid, and now you can't. You're blaming Vice Captain Zhuang for being unfair. You're such a fool." The mocked young man couldn't take it anymore and immediately attacked. The fight accidentally spread to others, and the fighting spread. It spread, and soon the outer room had become a battlefield, while the female team members in the inner room were still cheering. Seeing this scene clearly, Zhuang Wenming's temper could no longer be suppressed. He took out two long wooden sticks from the space button and rushed in, punching the people who were wrestling in the group. You like to fight, right? Then today I will give you brats a good fight and see who is stronger, you or my stick. Ah! Deputy Captain Zhuang, spare us. We won't dare to do it again. The shrill cry for mercy rushed out of the door and echoed in the spacious corridor, chilling people's hearts. The team members in other rooms of Mengjia closed their eyes one after another. Go to sleep. Deputy Captain Zhuang is furious. Chapter 470 Free Tap Water. After beating up a bunch of snipers, Zhuang Wenming, feeling refreshed, threw down the words "get some rest," and stalked out. He saw a group of people gathered at the door, munching on sunflower seeds. Zhuang Wenming frowned. Hey everyone, what's the fuss? The Shen Yu crew stared up at the ceiling, this question sounding profound. They silently pushed the captain out. Only when they were equals could they have a pleasant conversation. They were just munching on sunflower seeds. Gu Qingheng, pushed out by the disloyal team members, smiled before he could say anything. Captain Zhuang is amazing. He single-handedly defeated a group of them. No, Zhuang Wenming said modestly with a fake smile. They just didn't dare to fight back because of his status. By the way, Captain Gu, why did you come here with such a large group? Gu Qingheng groaned inwardly. If he had known, he would have stayed in his room to listen to the video-free version. Why did he come here to embarrass himself? He was even tricked by a bunch of idiots. He was really embarrassed. With a sudden thought, he remembered the repair cabin that had just been borrowed, so he pointed at the team member who had just pushed him out and said with a smile, "He's a young master at home. He's delicate and fragile and can't sleep on the hard floor. He insisted that I come to see if you have used the repair cabin. If you have, take it back and sleep." The delicate and fragile young master Yu Hongbo burst into tears. The revenge came too fast like a tornado, blowing him dumbfounded. Zhuang Wenming knew that this was just an excuse they made up, but since he was the one who borrowed it, it was difficult to expose it. He could only force a smile in answer, "I don't know about this either. Why don't we go over and take a look now?" It wasn't long after the repair cabin was borrowed. 20 or 30 people in Mengjiu were seriously injured, and the number of slightly injured exceeded 100. There was no way they could be treated so quickly. He said this purely to drag these people around to save them from being too idle. Unfortunately, his skill level was too low, and his wishful thinking was exposed at the first sign of trouble. So Gu Qinghang refused without hesitation. Forget it, it's already this late, and your people should all be resting. I'll let Hongbo bear with it. It's only one night anyway, so we'll talk about the repair cabin tomorrow morning. After saying this, Gu Qinghang led the group who were still eating sunflower seeds back to bed. Lin Miaomiao, who was among the crowd, curled her lips and said, "How can I sleep tonight with this situation?" But she fell asleep anyway, sitting in her boyfriend's arms, sleeping soundly. With a human cushion to lean on and the ability to automatically adjust her posture, it was so easy to fall asleep. Did he see the group of red-eye patients scratching at the wall nearby? Before 6 o'clock the next day, while the others were still resting in awkward positions with frowns on their brows, Lin Miaomiao happily opened her eyes. Bored, she suddenly remembered that she actually had a lot of food in her space button, as well as an energy stove and pots and pans, so she decided to make some porridge for everyone to warm their stomachs. Trapped in the underground palace, with a complete kitchen, the only problem she faced in cooking was water. She had stored several large buckets of purified water in her space button. But she was worried about how many days she would be trapped in the underground palace, and that if she ran out of water, she would have nothing to drink. After a long struggle, she saw a three-headed bird dangling at the door, holding a large black egg. Her eyes suddenly lit up. She could ask it to contribute some water to cooking. It had water abilities anyway, so why not choose them? Isn't it true that abilities require practice to improve? She tiptoed out of the door and found Fork snoring loudly in the corner of the corridor. Lin Miaomiao pulled a hair from its head. Fork jumped 3 feet high and cursed, "Who? Which bastard dares to attack me while I'm sleeping? Be careful or I'll skin it." Lin Miaomiao put her hands on her hips and said with a blank face, "Of course it's me. How are you going to skin me? Oh, it's the bad guys. No, it's my aunt who's awake." Fork turned into a flattering look in seconds. "Why don't you sleep a little longer?" Ever since promising to find it a good place with food and drink, Fork's attitude has become more attentive than Chanking. He even changed his address to aunt, which made the honest Chanking so disgusted that he cried out that he couldn't stand it. Lin Miaomiao didn't mind being called old. She tilted her head to the three-headed bird circling the hallway. "I want it to get me some basins of water. For washing vegetables or making porridge." "Can you talk to it?" "No problem," Fork agreed readily. He flapped his wings and flew towards the three-headed bird. After a brief exchange of bird language, he quickly brought it back. Several large basins were lined up in the hallway. The three-headed bird pondered for a moment, then opened its mouth and spit a stream of clear water into the first basin. Lin Miaomiao froze. Would the water spitted out from the bird's beak be contaminated with viruses if used to wash vegetables or cook? "So, can you only spray water from your mouth?" Lin Miaomiao asked woodenly. "Chick, chick," the three-headed bird chirped softly. Fork translated, "It says no. It can also conjure water from thin air. It just hasn't eaten in the past 2 days, so to conserve its energy, it has to use a more energy-saving method." "Why aren't you eating?" Lin Miaomiao was puzzled. Was it trying to diet to lose weight? The fork knew the answer. Because it was too chaotic yesterday, it didn't have time to hunt. Today, it's free, but unfortunately it can't go out. Lin Miaomiao understood. So, they were the culprits, which made her feel a little guilty. After asking the three-headed bird about its diet, she gave it over 1,000 pounds of exotic beast meat. The three-headed bird was delighted to have food. No longer needing to carefully conserve its energy, it flapped its huge wings a few times, and countless aquamarine points of light flew in from all directions, gathering together to form small water balls. Slowly, the small water balls grew larger, until they were large enough for a person to bathe in. Then, with a wave of its wings towards the large basin, the water balls obediently split into several basins. "Three-headed bird, you're amazing," Lin Miaomiao praised it generously, but it felt a bit awkward to address it that way, so she asked while unpacking kitchen utensils, "What's your name?" Surprisingly, this 7th-level exotic beast didn't have a name. She was so surprised that her mouth almost dropped open. "Why don't you have one?" Exotic beasts had all sorts of names, each with a different origin. Some were given by their elders, Some were chosen by themselves. Even the mean-mouthed parrot had a name, yet this three-headed bird didn't even have one for itself. Because it's too lazy, Fork said with a hint of disdain. Aside from going out to forage, this bird just stays in its room, holding Big Black Egg and talking, and doesn't interact with the other creatures at all. Oh, Lin Miaomiao said skeptically, but seeing the three-headed bird didn't react, as if it accepted her statement, she had no choice but to accept it. It's inconvenient not to have a name. How about I give you one, this time, the three-headed bird reacted, glancing up at her. Just when she thought her suggestion would be rejected, it nodded casually. Lin Miaomiao was furious. She had only said it casually, but she hadn't expected the three-headed bird to actually agree. It looked like Fork's words were true. She had already offered to help with a name, so she wouldn't go back on her word. However, she was terrible at naming, and after a long time of thinking, she couldn't come up with a good one, so she just randomly picked one. Since you're shiny black, I'll call you Obsidian. The three-headed bird, too lazy to choose a name, had no objection, and the matter was settled. Chapter 471 Preserved Egg and Lean Pork Porridge. The three-headed bird didn't care about names, simply nodding its approval. Seeing the basins of water were full, it left, carrying its large black egg and its food. The fork, however, lingered, refusing to leave. Lin Miaomiao glanced at it, then tossed a small bag of apples over. Here, your breakfast. The mutant parrot, content with the apples, found another place to eat. Lin Miaomiao began preparing breakfast for everyone. With over 200 people in Shenyu, plus the 7 members of the assessment team, there was a lot to cook. Even with plenty of ingredients, she couldn't do much without help. Fortunately, Yi Hongwen woke up after she left, and seeing she hadn't returned, he went out to look for her. 13, who was in his space button, was naturally called upon. 13 had always been used to clean up the battlefield and had never done kitchen work, but he was no problem washing and chopping vegetables. Lin Miaomiao had originally planned to make some meat porridge, but now that she had someone to do odd jobs, she took out flour, preserved eggs, and lean meat. She planned to steam some buns and make 2 more pots of preserved egg and lean meat porridge. Kneading the dough was physically demanding, so naturally, it was assigned to 13. Although Lin Miaomiao had gained some strength through exercise, she still disliked it. She first boiled and peeled the preserved eggs in their shells. Some people say that the preserved eggs for preserved egg and lean meat porridge can be peeled and cut directly before cooking, but she preferred to boil them first and cut them first. This way, the shells were easier to peel and the porridge tasted better. After washing the rice and adding it to the pot, she added the cut preserved eggs and minced meat, covered the pot, and let it simmer. Lin Miaomiao turned to C13, who had also kneaded the dough and, as she had instructed, had added powdered sugar to prevent the flavor from being too bland. Mantou didn't need to be individually hand-wrapped like baozi. To save time, she had 13 divide the dough into long strips, flatten them, and then cut them into roughly the same size with a knife before steaming them. Half an hour later, a pleasant aroma filled the back hall, waking those still asleep with twitching nostrils, and some eager souls ventured out to see what was going on. Among them, Liu Kaoyer and Liu Yifei were the most enthusiastic. As soon as they smelled the aroma, they said goodbye to Zhougong and rose to follow it. Seeing several pots in the corner of the bluestone passage, their mouths watered. Miaomiao, what are you cooking? Liu Kaoyer wanted to lift the lids, but her boss stood there with a cold face, so she didn't dare to touch him. That smells so familiar, Liu Yifei sniffed, eyes closed, intoxicated. Could it be preserved egg and lean pork porridge? The two speculated in unison. Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes. You really are family, acknowledging their guess. The Liu duo, having guessed correctly, cheered and began to inquire about the dinner time. Lin Miaomiao, observing their disheveled hair and the suspicious appearance of something in the corner of their eyes, silently took out a mirror and handed it to them. Ah! The pitiful cries of the man and woman woke even those who were still asleep, and the back hall suddenly became lively. After freshening up, the Shenyu team spontaneously lined up in the hallway. Meng Jia's men peered in from the doors and windows of their temporary quarters, their eyes filled with envy and resentment. Their fleet was clearly formidable, yet how could they be treated worse than the Shenyu team? They were enjoying hot porridge and steamed buns, while they could only toast with nutritional supplements. What infuriated the Meng Jia team members most was that the assessment team members were also able to line up for meals, while they could only watch from the sidelines. Thus, Zhuang Wenming was in trouble again. Many of the team members had already complained about him when he woke up that morning. Okay, this has never happened before, and I didn't expect it. Next time we go on a mission, we should bring a cooking robot with us. This time, I'll go find Captain Yi and borrow the robot to cook. After getting rid of the crowd's entanglement, Zhuang Wenming pursed his lips and ran to the pot aggressively, and said to Yi Hongwen, who was standing aside, "Captain Yi, your fleet's living facilities are pretty good. You even bring cooking robots when you go out on missions. You're welcome." Yi Hongwen replied indifferently, "We didn't bring a cooking robot." Zhuang Wenming was dumbfounded, pointing to several large pots, and asked, "Then where did these come from? Cooked?" Yi Hongwen looked at him as if he was an idiot. "My girlfriend is a good cook." Well, having said that, Zhuang Wenming naturally knew that borrowing people would not work, so he could only settle for the next best thing. "I wonder if you have extra food. Our captain was seriously injured and just woke up. It would be helpful if he could eat something hot." Yi Hongwen instinctively wanted to refuse. Liu Wan and he had a terrible relationship, but he knew better than to dwell on personal grudges at this moment. He turned to Lin Miaomiao and asked, "Has everyone eaten yet? Is there any extra?" Lin Miaomiao had cooked 2 large pots of porridge and steamed over 500 buns, so there was naturally some left. Seeing this, she took the initiative to fill a bowl with the porridge and buns and handed them over. "This is for Captain Liu. If Lieutenant Zhuang hasn't eaten yet, come and have some later." As for Zhuang Wenming, Lin Miaomiao found his name a bit amusing. His character was fine, and he was someone worth befriending. It would be nice to befriend him. "Thank you," Zhuang Wenming said gratefully, carrying his breakfast away. "You've been nice to him," Yi Hongwen said with a sour tone, his handsome face etched with the words "I'm unhappy." Lin Miaomiao laughed. "Don't you see how old he is? He's so jealous. Do you think I can't even talk to men anymore?" Yi Hongwen was speechless. It was inappropriate for Zhuang to be jealous of him at such an old age. He awkwardly changed the subject. "Let's go have breakfast too, or the porridge will get cold." Knowing what he was thinking, Lin Miaomiao didn't point it out. She took bowls, chopsticks, and plates and filled breakfast for the 2 of them. Since there was no place to sit in the back hall, they took them to the main hall, where there were plenty of tables and benches. She wasn't the only one who was clever. Once inside, she saw that most of her teammates were sitting there eating breakfast. The most shocking thing was that Fork had even taken a table, pecking at an apple with its wings. In the corner, the 3-headed bird, Hei Yao, ate raw meat with voracious mouthfuls. Lin Miaomiao closed her eyes. She regretted coming here. Hei Yao's ferocious eating style made her feel like she couldn't eat. She thought about it, but she hadn't eaten a proper meal the whole day. Now, with a delicious bowl of preserved egg and lean meat porridge and plump white steamed buns in hand, she didn't bother going back to the back hall. She simply found a table where Hei Yao couldn't see her and sat down to eat breakfast with Yi Hongwen. After eating and drinking, Shen Yu and the others finally had the energy to ask Lin Miaomiao why she had thought of cooking. "Washing vegetables and dishes requires a lot of water, right? Little cook, you're carrying tons of water with you, aren't you?" "How could that be possible?" Lin Miaomiao replied seriously. "I only brought a few buckets of water. As for washing vegetables and dishes, it's really okay not to wash them in these extraordinary times, right?" Everyone's expression changed. Chapter 472, The Mighty and Powerful Mecha Dig in the Tunnel. A joke nearly made some clean-keeping young masters and young ladies vomit. Although the others didn't have mysophobia, they also felt dizzy when they thought about the meat and vegetables being cooked without washing. Yu Hongbo muttered to himself, "Will eating unwashed food cause poisoning? PSSST, SSST, SSST. Stop talking nonsense here," Bai Jin consoled herself with a pout. "It's okay to eat dirty food, but we're trapped in the underground palace. We don't have much medical care and medicine, so we must not get sick." After the noise in the front hall stopped last night, Yi Hongwen and Lian Hu went to check the entrance. The front hall no longer existed, so the main entrance was naturally blocked. The smaller passage in the main hall was still unobstructed in the front, but the back half had collapsed as well. So they were sure they were trapped in the underground palace. With the passage blocked, the weak signal they had previously been able to receive completely vanished, leaving them unable to communicate with the outside world. They could only hope for the first ones to escape. If they succeeded, the military would surely send a rescue. With convenient mountain clearing tools, they wouldn't be trapped for long. However, simply sitting around and waiting for rescue wasn't the right approach. After breakfast, Gu Qingheng met with Zhuang Wenming and Li Yin to discuss clearing the passage, essentially a matter of personnel allocation. Li Yin pushed the matter aside. You two can discuss it. Our team leader's not here, so the remaining 7 will naturally follow Shen Yu. Just follow Deputy Captain Gu's instructions. Gu Qingheng gave a helpless smile. Evaluator Li, you're too modest. I heard that while team leader Z is away, everyone else is following your orders. That's different, Li Yin said flatly. That's because we have no other choice. Why should I get involved now that someone's giving me the orders? While the 3 of them occupied the center of the main hall to discuss matters, Shen Yu and his men summoned mechas from the outer rooms and searched the mecha armory for tools to dig a tunnel. Their swords and machetes were no match for them, and Brother Banzun's bricks could only serve as a steamroller. Actually, a steamroller is pretty good too, Yu Hongbo consoled the weeping Brother Banzun. Compact the road to avoid danger. Finally, they found a strange assortment of digging tools, a hoe with twists and turns of parts, a wavy shovel, and a steel rod that could pry open large rocks. The result of Gu Zhuang's discussion was to calculate and locate the turning point of the original channel and then open a new channel. The old channel had collapsed, and it would be very dangerous to dig it again. It would be better to open a new one not far away. If they dug it manually, it would probably take a month to dig it through, so they decided to use mechas to dig it. For fairness, all mechas would participate, in groups of 2, each for a quarter of an hour, and they would change people after enough time. If they wanted to be lazy, they couldn't do it, because if they didn't dig enough distance, the group would be punished to continue digging for another half an hour. Since there were fewer people in Shenyu, Gu Qingheng volunteered to dig first. He and Li Yin took the lead. Since they didn't find any strange tools, they could only use mecha weapons. As the captain, Yi Hongwen also had to take the lead. The second quarter of an hour was given to him. To make it easier for his girlfriend, he arranged Lin Miaomiao as his partner so that she could slack off. As soon as Aoxo entered the damp passage, he began to complain, I am a powerful and growable mecha, and the battlefield is my home. These days I have been used as a means of transportation for strange vines and beasts, and now I am asked to dig tunnels. I can't stand it. What, you want to go on strike again? Lin Miaomiao asked calmly. No, how can this be considered a strike? I just refuse to do things I don't want to do, Aoxo replied righteously. Mechas also have dignity, please respect our wishes. That sounds nice, but the essence is that you want to go on strike. Lin Miaomiao curled her lips. Aoxo, listen to me carefully, there are 2 choices, one is to dig tunnels obediently, and the other is that I will let Handong do it, Aoxo said impatiently. Okay, let's let Handong do it, I have no objection. I haven't finished speaking, why are you in such a hurry? Lin Miaomiao said unhappily. The second is to let Handong do it, then your positions will be swapped in the future, and you will be the backup mecha. Aoxo was grief-stricken and indignant. Can they still fight strange beasts happily together? With Handong's appearance, how can he compare to it? But Lin Miaomiao's words were clear. Even if it protested, it would be useless. It had to choose between the 2. If it became a spare mecha, it would be despised to death by the Black Lotus. Wielding the great sword and digging, Aoxo's avatar kept crying on the monitor screen, singing the recently popular song Master's Heart is Too Black on the Star Internet. After less than 5 minutes of digging, Lin Miaomiao was annoyed by it and wanted to beat it up. However, the threats had already been made, so she couldn't continue to be tough. She could only persuade it in a gentle voice, it's only 15 minutes. Just bear with it and it will be over. If you keep slacking off like this, what will you do if you are punished for half an hour later? You always have a 2 black heart. Aoxo sang these 2 lines over and over again, completely ignoring her master. Lin Miaomiao grimaced. Her eyes stumbled upon Black Lotus beside her, and she suddenly had an idea. Actually, tunnel digging mechas are pretty cool, too. Look at Black Lotus. Even covered in dirt, he still looks so majestic. Aoxo, startled, followed suit. He seemed quite handsome, so her eyes twinkled. Black Lotus is always so handsome. Just like Master said, majestic. So, Lin Miaomiao coaxed. You look beautiful now, too. Black Lotus will definitely think you're capable. Oh, Master, you're so annoying, the virtual Aoxo said coyly. Even if it's the truth, don't say it. I'll be embarrassed. Lin Miaomiao chuckled. Such a shameless AI actually said it was shy. It was hilarious. But as long as it didn't cause any trouble, she'd better endure it. Then she realized that her patience was a joke, because while Aoksu had stopped complaining incessantly in the mecha cabin, she had secretly turned on the external speakers to sing a love song to Black Lotus. Mechas across the way, look over here, look over here, look at me, look at my majestic form. Isn't it adorable? Loud cheers echoed from outside the tunnel. It was the board crew waiting for their turn to cheer on Aoksu. Lin Miaomiao's heart instantly sank. Such a disgraceful mecha should be given away immediately. Having already disgraced herself in front of the Mengjia fleet, Lin Miaomiao simply ignored it. After a quarter of an hour, she immediately returned to the back hall and tossed the filthy Aoksu directly into the space button. She had originally intended to call Hiao for a bath, but now that seemed unnecessary. Within half an hour, Aoksu's majestic song had spread throughout the underground palace. The mechas digging the tunnels sang it as they dug. By the end, there were several different versions of the song. Some mechas forgot the lyrics and filled in their own. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473 sees the light of day again. Although their tools weren't very handy, the mechas were incredibly powerful. After a morning of digging, they had already dug a considerable length of tunnel, estimated to be only 1/10 deep. Seeing this, Gu Qingheng decisively decided to swap shifts with Mengjia's men. It would be unfair if all the work was done by Shen Yu's men. Forget about selflessness or the belief that Federation soldiers possessed a spirit of dedication. Having been with Shen Yu for some time, he was well aware of these men's tendency to protect their own shortcomings and be petty towards others. During Mengjia's shift change, a minor incident occurred. They hadn't expected their turn so soon, and bored by the wait, they fell asleep. They didn't notice how the other mech operators were digging. They immediately maneuvered their mechas and dug furiously, oblivious to the need to remove the soil as they dug the tunnel. They ended up burying themselves alive. While the thin layer of soil wouldn't have affected the mechas or endangered his life, his antics were recorded and quickly spread throughout the underground palace, leaving him filled with grief and indignation, yet unable to stop it. Everyone drank nutritional supplements for lunch and worked together. It wouldn't be nice to cook for one's own family, but if everyone was to be treated equally, how could her small body cook for thousands of people? She simply gave up. After all, there would be hot meals after leaving the underground palace. Lin Miaomiao had already dug the passage, and it seemed that there would be nothing for her to do next. With nothing to do, she explored the rear hall of the main palace again. It would be even better if she found a secret room or something. Regarding her behavior, Heiao said, "Don't daydream. I haven't found anything wrong in the underground palace for thousands of years." This was a quick and decisive blow to Lin Miaomiao. She had no choice but to give up the idea of continuing the exploration and sat in the main hall to grow grass. At this time, Liu Kanier took out a few decks of playing cards and said, "Let's play cards." "That's not a good idea." Feng Liken hesitated. Mengjia's people were digging the passage, but they were playing cards. It seemed a bit unfair. "Liken, you're overthinking it," Liu Kanier said dismissively. "Our men were just digging, and they were still sleeping." Liu Kanier's words made so much sense that no one could object. They gathered around a table and started firing bombs. Seeing this, the others followed suit. Soon, the main hall was filled with shots of bombs. 2 days passed slowly. The relentless digging of the tunnel day and night had yielded noticeable results. They could now receive the warship's communication signal and contact Zhao Cheng and the others. The tunnel was almost through, and there was no need to request further military assistance. The mechas digging the tunnel simply worked harder. The others stopped idly sleeping and playing cards and disembarked, waiting in the tunnels. Meanwhile, Hu Zhi's small warship had also arrived at the energy planet. However, unable to contact Lin Miaomiao, and fearing misunderstandings, it docked on a small planet next door. That planet wasn't suitable for long-term human habitation, but fortunately, it was an alien beast and only temporarily staying, so it wasn't a big deal. After receiving the communication signal, Lin Miaomiao's communicator was flooded with text messages. All from Hu Zhi. It was said that the male three-headed bird was so excited that he wanted to meet his future wife as soon as possible, and he kept urging him several times a day. Hearing this, Lin Miaomiao just wanted to complain. The male three-headed bird was actually a joke. They hadn't even met, and Heiyao just wanted it to help hatch his younger brother, so how could he become his future wife? She told Heiyao this as a joke, but she didn't expect to get a shocking answer. The best way for the male and female three-headed birds to join forces to hatch eggs and combine their energy was to do something embarrassing. So Heiyao, who wanted to hatch his younger brother, had already prepared himself to become another bird's wife. The two birds had already secretly pledged their lives before they even met. Lin Miaomiao, unable to complain, could only say that there were so many strange things in the world, and she decided to just treat it as a joke. On the afternoon of the fourth day trapped in the underground palace, the passage was finally opened. Everyone, seeing the light of day, was overcome with excitement. They had never experienced such a crushing ordeal in their lives, and the thought brought tears to their eyes. After leaving the underground palace, the Shenyu crew forgot about a treasure room at the bottom of the pool and followed the captain and deputy captain back to the warship. Aoxa was still in her pose, holding the strange vine and the fork on her head. Most surprising of all, Heiyao also followed her obediently. The little cook is really a hit with the beasts. They all love to follow her. Liu Yifei couldn't help but sigh. Even the transformed beasts were contacting her. He didn't know why. She was so aggressive towards those beasts, but they didn't care. Luo Cheng remained calm. Don't forget who fed them these past few days in the underground palace. In this world, no matter how aggressive the person who feeds you is, you'll cling to them and refuse to let go. Everyone nodded. After all, as the ancient saying goes, whoever feeds you is your mother. Back on the warship, Yi Hongwen and the others didn't rush to hold a meeting to review the gains and losses of their trip to the underground palace. Instead, they sent everyone back to their rooms to rest and had a kitchen prepare some extra food tonight, as a way of rewarding everyone's hard work. Lin Miaomiao had just returned to her room to wash up and was about to fall asleep on her soft bed when she got a video call from Hu Zhi. It was them, having learned of Shen Yu and the others' escape, and they were eager to come and take Heiyao away. Seeing the large black bird barely squeezing its head onto the virtual screen, Lin Miaomiao said grimly, "Your wife needs to rest. Let's talk tomorrow." The large black bird chirped a few times in dissatisfaction, and Hu Zhi smiled and explained, "It can't wait any longer and wants to see her now. Besides, we've been here for several days, and the conditions are harsh. Everyone's feeling a little uncomfortable, so we want to go back soon." But Lin Miaomiao hesitated. "It's not even dark yet. Wouldn't it be too conspicuous for you to come in and take it away? Mengji had several warships stationed there, and it would be bad if there was a misunderstanding." Yi Hongwen, leaning against the headboard, was speechless. Sneaking in at night would cause misunderstandings. Everyone in Mengji knows about Heiyao and the others. If no one stands up to object, that means they've acquiesced. It's not that Mengjia's people didn't want to object, but the 7th level alien beasts were too lethal. Even with a dozen 6th level mecha masters besieging them, it was difficult to kill one. It was Heiyao who killed one that day. How could they have the courage to come out and provoke them? You have to know that most of Mengjia's 6th level mecha masters were seriously injured. Besides, they're afraid and don't have the mind to care about this now, Yi Hongwen said with a smile on his face, looking very happy. Those who escaped first don't seem to have come out. What? Lin Miaomiao was shocked. What's going on? The front hall was just tilted a little when they left. It didn't collapse. That's not clear to me. Yi Hongwen didn't care. Call him cruel or call him unsympathetic, he was happy to see this result. It was not because Liu Zhi had offended him, but after the last unpleasantness with Liu Wan and his daughter, he asked someone to investigate the two of them and found that although Liu Wan was serious and responsible at work and very capable, he was very protective of his shortcomings. After Liu Zhi joined the fleet, she did many things to harm beautiful female teammates out of jealousy. Some people were even forced to death, but they were all suppressed by Liu Wan. Chapter 474, Big Blackbird's Thank You Gift. Originally, she was worried about Liu Zhi, but she didn't expect such a thing to happen. Lin Miaomiao felt that even if she died in the underground palace, she would have gotten a huge advantage. She should be sent to the Star Prison and locked up for thousands of years, Lin Miaomiao said indignantly. Doesn't your father care about this? My dad works in the military, How could he know the tricks and the fleet? Yi Hongwen smiled bitterly. If I hadn't asked someone to investigate, I would never have thought that Mangjia, the first fleet of King Long, was hiding such an astonishing secret. So what about now? Does he know? Yi Hongwen nodded. I have passed the information to him. I have been secretly investigating those things recently, but because it is difficult to find witnesses and evidence, and I don't want to alert the enemy, my actions are a bit slow. Okay, that Liu Zai deserves to die, but what about the others? Lin Miaomiao was still worried. I remember that a member of our fleet also ran away. The one who ran away was Feng Zudi, someone she knew in a certain sense. Although this girl had a somewhat unpleasant temper, she was not too bad. Those people who ran away with Mangjia were all Liu Zai's die-hard fans. They followed her to do a lot of bad things. As for Feng Zudi, we can only say that she asked for death, Yi Hongwen said coldly. After he finished speaking, he was afraid that his girlfriend would think he was cold-blooded, so he added, don't worry, Liu Wan has already organized people to dig that passage, and Qing Hing has also taken people to help. That's good. Lin Miaomiao breathed a sigh of relief. I hope she can still be alive. Although she said so, she also knew that the hope was slim. It had been 3 days since the collapse of the front hall. If someone had gone to rescue on the first day, the chance of saving her would still be great, but now, there was basically not much hope. Let's not talk about this anymore. Yi Hongwen changed the subject when he saw that she was a little sad. Didn't you say you were going to pick up the three-headed bird? Come now. I'll tell Zhuang Wenming. Yi Hongwen went to send a video message. The big black bird couldn't wait to run away after hearing the good news. Hu Zhi smiled and said see you later to her, and hung up the video. Lin Miaomiao pouted and turned to go out to find He Yao and Chazi, ready to tell them the good news. He Yao was indeed very happy. He was looking forward to having a male to help incubate the eggs. He waited obediently in the lounge for the big black bird to pick him up. Chazi was not very happy. He fluttered his feet and didn't want to go with him. I have decided to be your pet. How can you treat me like this? Chazi complained. Of course, he was not reluctant to leave Lin Miaomiao, but he was reluctant to leave the big apple in her hand, and he didn't want to go back to the group of exotic animals to be bullied. Come on, if you come with me, you'll probably be plucked out and eaten, Lin Miaomiao threatened. Don't you know we can't keep exotic beasts? Chazi was stunned. But aren't you going to take that broken vine back with you? It's different. As long as it's planted in the soil, it can't move around freely. We can then give it a protective shield so it doesn't hurt anyone by mistake, Lin Miaomiao explained seriously. Chazi reluctantly accepted this reason, but he was very depressed. Among the exotic beasts, I'm always bullied. Lin Miaomiao had no way to solve the problem of getting along between the exotic beasts, so he could only say helplessly, if you don't want to be bullied, you'll have to work hard to improve your strength. At this moment, He Yao, who was holding the big black egg, barked a few times. Chazi was overjoyed and hurriedly changed his words. Okay, I agree. I'll go back with you. Seeing his happy look, Lin Miaomiao guessed that He Yao had taken the initiative to ask to be his backer. He Yao shrugged. This was the best way, and it would save Chazi from being reluctant to leave. 10 minutes later, a small, light green warship flew towards the Shenyu. After the two ships docked, Yi Hongwen sent a video message, asking her to bring the two exotic beasts to the ship's gate. Lin Miaomiao nodded in agreement. With He Yao's promise, Chazi didn't hesitate. Instead, she happily rushed to the gate, completely unguided. He Yao, concerned about his brother, also flapped his wings and flew forward, leaving Lin Miaomiao behind in the blink of an eye. By the time she arrived at the gate, He Yao was already leaning against a big black bird, and Chazi was standing on Hu Zhi's shoulder, his face full of intoxication. Long time no see, little beauty. Hu Zhi's lips curled up, a charming smile appearing on his face. Have you missed me lately? Yi Hongwen's stern face darkened instantly. He took a few steps to stand in front of Lin Miaomiao, blocking her behind him, and said sternly, Mr. Hu, you've picked up the three-headed bird, it's time for you to leave. Hu Zhi smiled. Miaomiao and I haven't seen each other for months. Captain, you won't give us some time to catch up? Nothing to say, Yi Hongwen refused coldly. Well, how can that be? Lin Miaomiao pushed him away. Go away. Don't get in the way here. Being rejected by his girlfriend instantly hurt Yi Hongwen, and he felt terrible. In contrast, Hu Zhi's face was smug. Just as he was about to add fuel to the fire and start an argument, Lin Miaomiao reached out her hand. "Where's the stuff?" Lin Miaomiao asked with a blank expression. "What? Who?" Zhi was confused. Shouldn't this be the time to catch up? Why was he asking about stuff? "Don't play dumb." Lin Miaomiao squinted at it with disdain. "You promised to bring us the things. We've been trapped in the underground palace for several days, and we need to replenish our bodies when we get out." Hu Zhi understood that this was the promised fruits, vegetables, and meat. Reluctantly, he turned to the big black bird. 30,000, where are the things you brought? The big black bird obediently extended its wings and handed over an ice blue bracelet. Lin Miaomiao took it without hesitation, using her mental power to sense the inside. She found vegetables and fruits, as well as beef, mutton, chicken, duck, fish, and meat, and there was quite a lot of them. Satisfied, she slipped the bracelet on her hand. It looked like it was going to embezzle even the space button. The big black bird was displeased. It glared and cried loudly, as if trying to get the bracelet back. Unexpectedly, Hei Yao flapped its wings a few times, pushing it back. The big black bird was depressed. It had found the bracelet specially. The space inside was not very big originally, but it asked a space-attributed alien beast from the alien beast star for help and expanded the storage space 7 or 8 times. It was already 400 or 500 square meters in size. It was going to use it to please its future wife, but it didn't expect that it would be shamelessly snatched away when it was just for temporary use. Hei Yao saw the big black bird's reluctance and soothed it softly. The big black bird finally quieted down. Hu Zhi, who had watched the whole process, smiled. "Meow meow, you are really smart. How about this? This bracelet is a thank you gift of 30,000 for you." "Thank you for finding it a wife." Lin Miaomiao nodded indifferently. Anyway, no matter what was said, she would not return the bracelet since she had seen it. It would be better if she could take it with a legitimate reason. "You can go now." It was time to kick people out after getting the things, but before leaving, Lin Miaomiao had something to say. "Don't forget our training equipment and military expenses." "I know." Hu Zhi's mouth twitched. He couldn't stay any longer. If he stayed any longer, he might be asked to take away something else. It was better to leave quickly. Chapter 475 The Secret Room Under the Pool. The light green battleship flew away. Fork, who had just grabbed Lin Miaomiao and said he wanted to be her pet, didn't even look back. Instead, Obsidian waved his wings at her and left reluctantly. Lin Miaomiao felt that it was troublesome to carry several exotic beasts at first, especially Obsidian, whose 3 heads looked very strange. After they left, she felt a little reluctant to leave. In fact, Obsidian was quite obedient and not as noisy as Fork. Although she was reluctant to leave, she was also happy that Obsidian had found a kindred spirit. After all, Hu Zhi had no hostility towards humans. As long as no one provoked them, there would be no chance of hostility. Yi Hongwen saw her reluctance and deliberately diverted her attention. "Do you want to go treasure hunting? Mengjia's people are focused on finding people, so we shouldn't attract attention if we go down to the pond." "Okay," Lin Miaomiao agreed without hesitation. After coming out of the underground palace, if the large group went treasure hunting, Mengjia would definitely notice something was wrong. It didn't matter if the 2 of them went. The Black Lotus was too conspicuous, so Yi Hongwen deliberately avoided using it to conceal his identity, opting instead for a gray, level 5 backup mech. Lin Miaomiao also considered using the Handong, but its color was even more conspicuous than Aoksu's, making Aoksu's silver-white color easier to pass off as. Reaching the center of the cliff, they saw a large concentration of mechas, mostly Mengjia's team members. Gu Qingheng had only brought a dozen or so with him. As he put it, "Captain Li will rush to send out troops anyway, so having more of us isn't going to help." Li Enhe brought several members of the assessment team with him. After all, their leader was missing, and deploying all of them would seem more normal. After exchanging greetings with Gu Qingheng in private, Lin Miaomiao followed Yi Hongwen down the mountain. With everyone focused on rescuing the missing men, no one noticed anything was amiss, and the 2 mechas successfully entered the water. The water in the pool was clear, yet so deep that the bottom was invisible. The 2 mechas swam continuously, finally reaching the muddy bottom after about a quarter of an hour. Surprisingly, the mud seemed artificially placed. Even with the mechas weighing several thousand pounds, the mud barely reached their knees. "There's concrete underneath," Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but exclaim. Was this dug by humans? This pool was probably dug by psychics, Yi Hongwen said with a faint smile. It seems the psychic leader felt unsafe and found another place to hide their things. The secret chamber He Yao mentioned was in the very center of the pool. There was a pile of stones of various sizes and colors, making it an easy target, so they found it quickly. However, the key to the secret chamber wasn't on the visible stones, but in the mud at the very center. There was a small, pointed stone that would unlock the chamber if stepped on. Lin Miaomiao directed Aoxun to rush over and activate the mechanism. She had never opened a secret chamber herself before, and she was determined to try it this time. Yi Hongwen merely smiled indulgently at her behavior and warned, "Be careful when you drive, or you'll fly off." Perhaps she was afraid the ground would automatically break apart if she stepped on it, Lin Miaomiao thought, agreeing. She then strode over to the pile of rocks and stepped around. Sensing something hard, she instinctively flew up. However, the ground didn't crack. With a gentle rumble, only the nearby pool wall cracked. The less than 2-meter wide entrance left Lin Miaomiao stunned. How do I get in? Do I have to get out of my mech and swim in? Let's see first. Yi Hongwen strode over and lit a waterproof energy lamp. Only then did he see that the passage inside was only about 10 meters long, with stone slabs beyond. Could He Yao have taken the treasures in here long ago? Lin Miaomiao thought of the golden and jade bed in the back hall room. It was likely from there that the treasures had been taken. Was this trip for nothing? No, she felt that obsidian wouldn't lie. Besides, it had promised to lead them on a treasure hunt. Let's go in and take a look. Maybe there are other traps inside, Yi Hongwen said solemnly. He also doubted that this secret chamber could be so small. Although they could swim, they didn't intend to dismount from the mecha. Instead, they sideways, one to the left, the other to the right. After searching for a long time at the innermost part, they found no other traps. Just as they were about to leave, Lin Miaomiao accidentally looked up and saw that it was completely empty. Bossy, look up. Lin Miaomiao felt she had discovered the truth. The entrance might be up there. Yi Hongwen looked up and saw a passageway. It was quite long, possibly even higher than the water level. There was a large gap on the inner side, and he guessed there was a secret cave inside. Let's go up and take a look, Yi Hongwen said. The two mechas rose simultaneously and soon emerged from the water. When they reached the gap, they saw a large secret chamber, the glittering jewels below dazzling the eyes. Those things were definitely taken from here, Lin Miaomiao exclaimed excitedly. There's quite a few left here. The chamber wasn't very large, only 20 or 30 square meters and only about 30 meters high. Upon landing, Yi Hongwen's first attention was the assortment of swords hanging on the relatively dry inner wall. There were probably over 100 of them, some long, some short, some wide, some narrow, some thin, some thick. The sight was dizzying. Do superpowered people use swords? Lin Miaomiao flew over and picked up a random one. Wow, it's not rusted at all. It's been here for over 1,000 years. Yi Hongwen was at a loss for words. You've always heard that good swords rust so easily? As long as they're not low quality, they won't rust even after 10,000 years. That's amazing, Lin Miaomiao exclaimed. Last time I watched a Star TV drama, the protagonist found a room full of swords, but they were all rusted. Could they be low-quality swords? Yi Hongwen was speechless. The things in Star TV dramas were just fabricated nonsense, so how could they be taken seriously? Lin Miaomiao didn't dwell on the rust issue for too long. With so many swords, she couldn't help but take a few more glances at them even if she couldn't use them. Hey, let's keep a few of them as souvenirs. Although they were of little use, it would be nice to admire them when you're free. It would also be beautiful to buy 2 sets of ancient costumes and take artistic photos with them. Okay, Yi Hongwen agreed to her suggestion without hesitation. See which ones you like and put them in your bracelet. As he spoke, he was already carefully observing and comparing the swords, as if he was really going to find the ones he liked and take them away. Lin Miaomiao was stunned. What she said just now was just a joke. She didn't expect him to agree, so she hesitated. I was just saying it casually. It's not a good idea to take them. If people see us, they will definitely know that we've hidden them away. It doesn't matter. Yi Hongwen didn't care. The first person to find something will always keep something. If they don't, people won't believe it. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.